Hello, hello, happy Friday. Welcome to our Friday Witchy Hangout. We do this every single Friday where we hang out, we mix our energies together, and we ask a juicy question of the universe. And today we are asking, what messages do your guides want to bring forward? So this really runs the gamut. It could be anything. And I just lit some incense in my air purifier. Is like, what? So welcome. Yes. So I guess I will just go ahead and throw this up here. I do have like some announcements. You may notice that there are not advertisements on this video, and that is for a reason. For some reason, I'm so scared to like talk about this. But just, it's for a reason. It's just in solidarity, and that's all I wanted to say about that in case you notice throughout. So, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put the pile selections up here. Well, okay, so we do have an anchor card, and that is the Kiss energy. Hello. First time catching a live stream. Thank you. Okay, so this is the anchor card, and it is not one of the choices, but it is a common energy that goes into all of the piles. And I like to get you a look at that because I do feel like we read the cards together. So if this is speaking to you in any way, if it carries a message of its own, if it enhances the message, if you see this in your mind or reminded of this card during the reading, it might be communicating with you. It might be bringing in some kind of a message. And here are our piles. Whew. I don't know why I felt so nervous. Okay, so pile number 1 is the vision, pile number 2 is the pilgrim, and pile number 3 is the mentor, or the mystic. Sorry. So putting that up there, I love when you sing LOL. All right. So I am just going to leave this up here. If you haven't already chosen your pile, now is a good time to do so. Even if you have, this is a good time to just take a moment to meditate, focus on that breath, and we like to do that together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Why am I being so weird? I feel like totally fine and confident on the inside, but I just like felt so nervous. Okay, so if you're ready, I'm ready. Maybe this meditation will help. So I just like to drop the energy down, turn the focus inwards, close the eyes, remove the attention from like the external world and the 3D world and everything that's going on around us all the time, and just connect in with that deep inner space. All right, so whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and be drawn into whatever pile or multiple piles you're drawn into. Hello. All right. So if you need to pause the video here a little longer, you can, but I think I'm going to go ahead and move on. But actually before, really quick, I feel so scared and nervous like during this time in our world. And I just wanted to say that I did just want to mention too that I try to come on here and just do the thing that we do every single Friday. I feel like it's important for us to have places to go because everything can seem so overwhelming and so much is changing. And I just want you to know that just because I don't bring things up and I don't talk about it here doesn't mean that I am unaware or that I don't know or that I don't care about it. And so I just wanted to say that that wherever you are, I hope that you are safe and that you're happy and that you are healthy and that you're doing well. And I hope that coming here to this channel is a bit of a reprieve from anything that can be going on. So, yeah, and I'm a little bit nervous, like using my voice. I'm never really know what I can say on YouTube just anyways, but it feels almost like weird to even talk about or bring it up or anything like that. I don't know. So I just wanted to bring that up. But okay, so moving forward here, let's go ahead and get into pile number 1, which is the vision. So, okay. Oh, Luna's sitting on the vent. Sitting on the vent. Okay, I'm going to take a little sip here. I got a ginger ale. Extra ginger. Okay. We'll compassion this space. Compassion. Okay. So Spirit, what are the guides wanting to say here for pile number 1? Luna is so cute right now, is what the guides want to say. They want to let you know that Luna is looking so cute, sitting on that vent, hogging all the heat. All right, Spirit. For pile number 1, what are the guides wanting to say here? I just heard meet me in the middle. Okay. So we've got the 5 of Wands here at the bottom of the deck. And of course, this is the vision card. So, okay, I feel like there's something here that is maybe clouding your vision, but your guides are reaching out to you here. Kind of getting that from like the 2 owls that are sitting on the side, and they're saying like they have crisp vision and they're seeing very clearly. And I feel like they're asking you, like they're reaching out and they're asking you to trust them because they have a vision and they also know your vision. Oh, I just got goosebumps whenever I said that. They have a vision and they also know that you have a vision. And when I'm saying that you have a vision, I do feel like this is on like an ego level consciousness, not in a bad way or a degrading way. They just know that your ego has certain things that it wants to like do or accomplish. And there's a way that they can kind of merge this and like move together. And for some of you, this may have actually included some type of partnership here or some kind of like kiss maybe or like hidden feelings that you've had for somebody here. That's kind of like a part of it, and it maybe has felt like in the woods energy, so maybe scary or dark or something here like that, but it is kind of like moving you through. But I feel like there maybe is something here to do with either your vision or this person's vision, and it's a part of the plan, it's a part of the progress is that I'm getting, is that there's something here that is like Jesus said, like a log in your eye, first remove the log from your own eye so that you can kind of see clearly. And that is kind of their goal here. I'm hearing the word process. I'm hearing the word progress. That's their goal, is like to have you remove the log from your eye. And there's something here about this, I want to say like partnership, and it doesn't have to be a romantic partnership. This could be somebody that's been brought into your life in any kind of way that I don't know. It feels like there is some kind of like secret feelings towards, and again, I don't necessarily mean romantic or schmegsual feelings. It might even be like suspicious feelings or something like that. And it's meant to kind of bring you forward, and it's meant to help you realize that there's kind of this like log in your eye, or like, you know, kind of a film in over your vision. And I feel like or maybe it's their vision, or maybe it's both, but I do feel like the visions are off here, because I think you and this person actually are on the same page, or you're on the same team in a spiritual sense. And it's hard to kind of see that, because I feel like there is like certain kind of competition that is maybe in the way, or it's stirring up some kind of feelings, or there's been like, I'm hearing misunderstandings. And it could be that one person here is like really runs forward, maybe like with maybe it's like they're impulsive with their speech and they don't really like kind of think through things. And so they say things like without it being kind of filtered and processed first, and they just kind of throw it out there, and then it leads to some kind of like emotional pileup or a misunderstanding, or that's just one thing that it could be. And that could be you, or that could be like the other person. But I'm just hearing the word misunderstandings. The other thing that I'm getting is like the unseen is very much affecting this, but they're trying to get you to kind of see the unseen. And what I think this is something to do with hierarchy. And maybe that's what's to do with like the competition, or some kind of inner turmoil. And maybe that inner turmoil has to do with competition, even if it's not seen that way by you, or maybe this is going on in the other person, or it could be going on like with both of you. Sorry if this is kind of confusing, because it really could be coming from like any direction, but I feel like they're having you kind of like screen this like in you, but it has something to do with hierarchy. But from different facets, because I feel like hierarchy may actually be a factor here, like in the actual 3D world, but it might be confusing. Or also like that, it's like you're seeing this person through the lens of hierarchy, and that's why you don't see them, or that's what they're doing to you. They're seeing you through the lens of hierarchy, but the hierarchies that you're noticing might not even be the same. It could be that, I don't know, like, okay, so for instance, like maybe, because what I'm getting is like in the center of this vision card, you see like the mountain, and then you see underneath it, it's like oh, I guess that's the trees. I thought it was like the underground, but you get what I'm saying, like the underground, and there's like that fire. It's kind of like the light and the shadow, like what's kind of moving beneath. So it could very well be that somebody here is this kind of mountain. And so maybe they are very stoic, or they're very quiet, or kind of like a stone, or very cold, or that you're just not getting much out of them. And I think that that could be misunderstood or misconstrued by you as to like why that is, because it could be that you're looking at it through the lens of hierarchy. And I'm going to keep saying you as though this is you, because I do think that for a lot of you, Spirit's wanting you to look at it through this lens. It also could be mirrored in this other person. Or part of the miscommunication could be that one person is actually like looking at something through a hierarchy, and the other person is looking at something more through like a Libran dynamic, like a human element, where it's not necessarily like the roles. But I feel like it's not necessarily right or wrong either way. Or maybe I should say it could be the hierarchy way could be the right way to look at it, depending on, like, it could be very much baked into reality, you know, and it's like there's a hierarchy here that does actually need to be taken into account for people to see and to understand each other's behaviors clearly, like to see the place that it's coming from clearly, because it actually does like make sense and it's not so personal or something like that. But it also could be that that the hierarchy is maybe getting in the way of seeing somebody's like humanity. It could go either way, and maybe it goes both ways. I don't know. But I feel like somebody here is like this mountain, and it could be that because somebody else here is dealing with their shadow in some way, but it's like below the surface, they are looking at this person's kind of behavior, and they feel maybe slighted, or they feel like they're not on the same page. Like there's some kind of like vision here. And this is like helping to remove the log from the eye, and that log being competition, or that log being, I don't know, something here to do with like with the hierarchy here. Because what I'm getting is that for some of you, like it's the reason this person is behaving the way that they are doesn't have to do with hierarchy, meaning like for some, there could be a narrative here going on in your mind or in this person's mind that somebody here just thinks that they're better than everybody else. And that's why they don't open up, or that's why it's like they're this mountain, right? They're like, they seem cold, or you can't really like connect with them on like a warm level. But actually, that's not the case. It's more human than that. And what I mean is, if you took your soul out of your body and you put it into their body, or if you put it into their position, one of the two, because if you grew up in their body, like in their family, and their like, you maybe would have contended with the same variables and learned the same lessons. And, you know, so you would actually behave in the same way that that person is behaving. And it doesn't mean that they're like full of themselves, or that they don't like you, or like, you know, anything like that. It doesn't mean like that. It's something here is getting in the way of seeing like the true cause of the behavior, and like the actual true humanity of something that's going on here. But it also could be that the role needs to be seen in order to understand why a person, because this almost feels defensive, like for some, like with the mountain energy, like of course that person's defensive because they're kind of sensing this, like the shadow. It's almost like a scorpionic energy that's coming through, that something here isn't being said fully, that somebody here is focused on like the hierarchy, but Pluto is like power dynamics and wanting to transform themselves up like through the power dynamics. And so like somebody here is kind of maybe responding in a healthy, normal way, a way in which maybe you or whoever this is would also respond if they were in that same position. So there's something here like that. I also feel like there's a hidden element of hierarchy here. And the way that I want to put this is maybe like Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it could even be like there's something weird with the hierarchies, even in the 3D world. Like say somebody is like somebody's boss here, but they don't come from wealth. Like just as an example. And whoever's working for them is working for them. So they're kind of in the hierarchy, they are, you know, that's their manager or somebody that they need to check in with. But they come from a very wealthy family or something. So like there's a broader societal hierarchy here that's also maybe like confusing the power dynamics, but also maybe bringing up, again, these like scorpionic energies, these kind of like fears, these like hidden fears of And part of that, so for the person who didn't grow up with wealth, I'm kind of getting like Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that the person who grew up in wealth isn't as familiar with because they haven't had to contend so much with the lower deficiency needs. So safety and security needs, or like your physiological needs, basically like, how do I make rent? They don't know that. So they could be relating to this person who is their manager and who has came from the gutter looking like mamata. They've come from the bottom and they're trying to kind of build their way up in the world. They don't have the same like level of foundation. And so they're kind of they have to be more defensive because they don't have like, I just heard daddy's money, mommy's money to kind of fall back on if they fail. It's going to be the poorhouse, or it's going to be, they've got to go to the street, or they have to, go to a shelter or something. Like, it's something here. It's like different for like this person, and that's not being like seen, because I feel like somebody here, like say the person who like, well, maybe they've just started at a job or something, and but they come from this like family hierarchy. I feel like there might even be this little like, who do you think you are or something, and they're seeing them through this like chintzy kind of lens, this lens of like, they're not seeing them through the lens of like, you have mouths to feed. I just heard you have every reason to like do what's best for yourself in the world, and that's imperative that you do that, so that they don't know the ailments of the poor is what I just heard. I don't know if this is exactly it. This is kind of just an example, but like what I'm saying is like, there's something weird with the hierarchies where it's like, again, like the one hierarchy is somebody who doesn't come from money, but they've worked themselves maybe up in a company or something. Whereas a different person kind of dominates a different hierarchy, a hidden hierarchy, if you will. I also feel like hidden hierarchy. So Abraham Maslow's hierarchy could be like another hidden hierarchy, the hierarchy of needs that's like playing out here. So for instance, somebody who comes from this like family that never had to worry about money and safety, security, they are maybe focused on their love and belonging needs, like as a deficiency. Maybe people only tolerate them or like them because their parents own they're capitalists. They own the capital, they have the money, they pay the people to like them. And I feel like maybe that's like something that has hit really deep, like, am I really loved? And they're trying to maybe figure out love, and I'm kind of getting a checklist for this person, like, manipulate, they might manipulate or try, I think they might see this person and they kind of think, well, my parents were like at the top of their hierarchy. So if I knock you off your perch and I get up there, that's how you get love. But attention isn't love. Power isn't love. Control isn't love. Worship isn't love. Like, I think they're going through the list of like, and it doesn't help my esteem. Like my esteem needs when I just manipulate or dominate. I also just heard like, this could be, if this is a woman, there could be some kind of weird, twisted, warped feminism here. And what I mean by that is a woman who is aware that like, women need to be free and like, have autonomy and things, but thinks that the way to do that is to behave like men instead of saying like, the patriarchal, which could be another hierarchy here, the patriarchy, which is, kind of an intersection of, maleness and whiteness and things like that. But it's, again, very hierarchical. And like, there's the people at the top, and it's a way to kind of funnel everything in. So they're looking at that and kind of saying, they're looking at that and just kind of thinking that, I don't know, like, it's all kind of like clouding. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. And I feel like maybe this person has like, I don't know, it's something here's like not in their train of thought. Like the dots are not connecting. Oh, the feminism thing that I was saying. So they're not really bringing feminine energy in if they're trying to like dominate in the same way a man would. And I also just heard there could be trauma here from that for somebody of like having been treated a certain way by men or by powerful men. Somebody here could have been treated a certain way by powerful men, that when they got somewhere, or like as they became the person with like rhinoceros hide that kind of, could deal with that. Then when they got to the top, they were like, I'm going to take my power back by kind of like continuing this cycle sort of a thing. They didn't bring genuine like womanhood or like femininity to the top of the pyramid. I just heard they could have also squished and stepped on a lot of women, or made their lives harder, or took mouths out of their children's mouth. Oh no. but it's because they don't live in the real world. Somebody here, especially like somebody who comes from this like different hierarchy. So there's something about competition where competition is not seen the same on like both of these planes, because there's two different hierarchies. One operates in the background is what I'm getting. It's unseen, or there's like these unseen kind of unspoken hierarchies. And then there's these other hierarchies that are very much seen, but they're not necessarily real. Because again, like where is the power in the situation is also what I'm getting. And it could be that somebody here was like competitive and trying to like burn something down for somebody else because they misunderstood that person. And what your guides are coming through to say is that whoever did this, whether this was you or whether this was somebody else, misunderstood, because it's like it seems like you come from different worlds in some way, but it might not like be seen that way, because it seems like there's one hierarchy that is more visible and should be operating, but it's not, because there's like a shadow hierarchy that operates like in the background and in the mind and in the subconscious. And those ego defense mechanisms are very much active because the ego is like, well, this is who I am, and then doesn't want to see anything else. And so it could be that somebody here has behaved very badly, again, like leaning with power dynamics and like subterfuge and schadenfreude and like kind of maneuvering, and they see it as their rightful place. Ew, gross, ew. It also might be law of the jungle. Like, where somebody here is deserved in some kind of way. Again, like they've built themselves up in a certain skill. Again, that's that like, I think, like a meritocracy kind of hierarchy. We like to tell ourselves a fantasy of like, well, whoever's the best at something wins, and they should win. And somebody here may have well proved themselves in terms of skill, but somebody else is like, no, there's a different law. It's the law of the jungle. And it's whoever has the power. I mean, if I want to like just ruin your chances, oops, it's nasty. Like this is on some nasty shit, but it's like, it's a hidden way of being. And so it's these two ideologies that are like meeting here in the middle, where somebody here has entirely misunderstood somebody who I think has climbed their way up to some kind of hierarchy and is just protecting what it is that they've built. And maybe they don't want to be so friendly, or they're, something happened here and they kind of heard the power thing, but they also kind of are aware or are meant to become aware that there's this whole shadow hierarchy that's gone on here. Or they're meant, I just heard this as well, kind of David and Goliath. Somebody here is meant to take on the shadow hierarchy, but it's not them taking it on. It's God basically taking it on through them and saying, this is my fight. This is my battle. I just need to move through you. And you have merit and you have goodwill and you are a certain way. And so I just heard they have rich parents, but I just heard God stands behind you. So David, run right at Goliath. Like, I'm telling you to run at Goliath, run at Goliath. And the battle's not with them. They're just doing what they're told, and they're trying to take up space in the world, which they're allowed to do. There could be an irony here about somebody that's of a class that is usually like subordinated. Again, like feminism is kind of what I'm hearing. And like they're picking on somebody who is like not really trying to compete with them. And is actually trying to like be cooperative, and is kind of the thing that's what I'm getting, like the worldview. So it might not be feminism. It could be like something else, but it's like the worldview that you both say that you want is the same. So why can't we work together and get there? And that's what Spirit is saying, remove the log from your own eye. This is meant to be a mirror, and this is meant to kind of show something here that's going on, especially for whoever this is that's operating by the shadow hierarchy. Because I do feel they've been a bit of a stinker. I think they stunk up the place. They did something they're probably deeply ashamed of. I do think they're used to, it's very much, who do you think I am? Or who do you think I am? Or who do you think you are? Towering over me, thinking that you have some kind of control over your world, peasant. It feels very much like that. But I don't think that's the way that they come off. I think there's a Plutonic, Scorpionic energy. And for me, people who have strong Pluto and Scorpio, listen, for better or for worse, I usually think that they're Venus at first. Me in particular, I've got like strong Venus-Pluto contacts. But I'm always like, oh, that's Venus, until I find out, oh, that's Pluto. They're very good at putting on a show of Venus, which is fairness, equality, contracts. Like, I just heard bias, like no bias or something. But I think there might be a hidden bias here as well. And it doesn't it could go both ways, where it's like, again, pride and prejudice kind of a thing, where it's like you're prideful and you're prejudiced. And it could also go one way, the pride and prejudice thing, where somebody is like, you're prideful and you're prejudiced, but it feels like the person who had to work their way up via merit, like this person who operates on the shadow hierarchy and operates in a very plutonic kind of way is like, you're prideful and you're prejudiced and I'll teach you. And this person was like, I thought we were getting along. And they have to realize, oh, I was dealing with a very prideful, very prejudiced person. And that's why things went the way that they went. Because I was confused because I thought if everything's a fair shake and if you are the person that you're presenting, which is somebody like I just heard sweet, nice, kind, cooperative, teamwork oriented, this should not be a problem. And even if there is a problem, we are the two people who should be able to solve it. And what leadership, I just saw the Three of Pentacles, what leadership, here in my mind. But I also feel that it's not incorrect, like for whoever is at the top of this hierarchy, that they've worked their way up like via merit and like proving themselves and having, gone through the gauntlet and the fire and everything. They are at the top of the pyramid. They are the leader. And so if it's kind of like, I don't know, like if you're the manager, you're training like new people. Okay. So like you're training them how to do it, learn the rules so that you can break them properly. The people who have learned that, they have to kind of demonstrate that cooperative ability. They need to do things the way that they were trained to do it. And then from there, you can have more of a teamwork dynamic, but it needs to be demonstrated that they're not trying to sabotage or undermine or cause problems just to do it. Like, oh, well, I know that this is the way that you trained it, but this is my third day and I've just decided not to do it that way, or my third week or my third month, and I'm changing the rules, because that's either somebody incredibly stupid or very selfish. And like that just thinks, I don't need to learn the ways of this new system that I just joined in order to be a productive member of the team. And so I feel like there is this kind of like something going on, like the finger pointing and the confusion of, I don't know how to see you is what I'm getting. I don't know how to see you. And I think somebody here may well have felt very taken advantage of, squashed, frozen out, very defensive. And I think even their defensiveness, it feels very much like this person on whatever's the forward hierarchy where they worked their way up via merit. They can't, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. They really can't win, because it's like, once you notice that you've got Pluto energy moving all around you, then what do? You gray rock. But it seems like this person's in some kind of position where they need to be kind of delivering things. So it feels like maybe somebody here, things are being misconstrued. Willfully misunderstood. I just heard willfully misunderstood. So somebody here could have been just very confused. Very, very confused. But it ignited some kind of inner process here, like with the hermit. But this is like the hermit in the middle of a crowd is what I'm getting. Because see, like that guy that's, maybe you can't see, but like in the mountain, I think it's in the hermit card in this deck, and I can't remember what like the actual name. Oh, it's the mountain. The mountain in this card deck is like actually that mountain, and you see a guy in there with like the fire behind him, and it's just like, it speaks like hermit energy to me of kind of being alone and having like a big like inner process that I feel like is kind of burning through some kind of illusion. And it might be the illusion, oh my gosh, I hate to say this, but like the illusion of a fair society, the illusion of fair treatment, the illusion of kind people with good-hearted natures. Yeah. I kind of am feeling gender has something to do with this, because I also just heard like, if this is a man that's like on this kind of hierarchy, that he thought he likes women, like to work with women or empower women, because he knows that they maybe have been on the receiving end of this kind of treatment, but is very much willing to kind of teamwork with that and work it up, work with it. But let me see if this is a woman. I think she's seen as a social climber, or she's seen as a social climber, or somebody that got where she was on her back. You know what I'm saying? And it could even be there's like a weird way that this is one of these people who actually maybe somebody here started off like in the merit system and then jumped somehow over to this shadow system or something like that without their notice. I just heard without their notice, because Pluto is subconscious. I don't know. But there's competition and hierarchy somehow in ways that are seen and in ways that are not seen are affecting the way that you are viewing this other person and being viewed. And it's preventing you, and it's preventing some kind of teamwork energy here that actually is quite natural. Because you have the same vision. You and this person, yeah. Notice how like I didn't say that very clearly, but it's like you really do have the same vision. And somebody here could have a bit of a lisp, or just like nervous when they talk or something. You really actually have the same vision, but it's like the record can't play all the way through, because this at the bottom always looks kind of like a record groove here. The record can't play all the way through. Your guides, both of your guides, brought the two of you together to assist in this. And you are friends on a spiritual level because it's kind of breaking through the chains. But I also just heard breaking through the glass. Breaking through the glass? Like the glass ceiling. Don't just break the glass ceiling. Break the mold altogether. Somebody here could be a person that maybe started off on a merit system, climbed their way up, pulled the ladder up behind them. They're not supposed to do that. And that's not how you get to the world that they originally wanted, like, and wanted to be a part of, you know? Yeah, I'm just kind of getting that maybe somebody squished someone or ousted them, or just they were not treated fairly, or their ideas were always, I just am getting that like one person is speaking actually very clearly and the other person is like taking it in the worst possible light. Like just the word that's like, did you hear what they said? They said like this and that. And I think there's a lot of projection that's going on here. Like it's because they want like whatever Pluto, they want sex or they want power or they want to like divide and conquer people or something. Meanwhile, that's what shadow system is doing over here. Yeah, there could have been a plan. Maybe this involves a King of Wands kind of person that either had the plan or that was kind of like perpetrated against somebody very fire, maybe a fire sign, or maybe somebody hot, somebody that's an entrepreneur. Huh. Okay, so anything else? I just got goosebumps. Workplace incident. Everybody were behaving as they liked. Yeah. Okay, so what else, Spirit, or you want to say for pile number 1, or the guides that are here? Okay, 7 of Cups, very like confusion energy. Oh my gosh, and is this the 6 or the 9? Okay, it's 6 of Cups. A lot of Cups energy. So maybe emotions are kind of getting in the way here as well. Yeah, there's something here about the past that is maybe emotional, and it also could have been a trauma or something, because the 6 of Cups for me is Sun in Scorpio energy. There's that Scorpio energy. So, okay, somebody in the past could have seen this scorpionic energy, maybe to do with friends or something here like that. I'm getting that this might have been a very unfortunate thing between like these two people, because I actually think that I just heard like, you're the younger version of me. But there might have been something here on a demographic level and a demographic level only. Pride and Prejudice. Where somebody here couldn't see that they're, maybe like, that they couldn't see that they were a younger version of them. You know? There's a lot of beeping going on, and I think that's like a trash truck. So there could be something here about like trash.
It's a tow truck. Oh, it's a tow. In our next door neighbor's driveway.
Oh, so maybe, I don't know, maybe towing, like, I don't know, is something here metaphorically, but no, but I feel like it could have been like laughable because, I don't know, it could have like, I think it has to do with demographic information, age, gender, skin color, the kind of things you fill out on like a form or something. And it might have prevented somebody here from being like, oh, you're the younger version of me, or I'm the younger version of you, because somebody here might be like older, but they're the younger version, or they might seem like they're stronger or something, but they're like the younger version, you know? So it's like being able to see clearly, with clear vision, with spiritual vision, with wisdom, with well-roundedness. But yeah, so there's a lot of emotions here. And again, there could have been something in the past where either like this like smaller hierarchy person, the merit person, could have seen power actually moving around in a certain way. Or this shadow hierarchy person maybe came up through a merit system, forgot who they were, and is misconstruing who they have allegiance with, who they have alignment with. And that might be kind of funny. Like, it might be kind of funny because like whoever like the shadow person is associated with, or thinks that they're in alignment with, they might share demographic information. They might look a lot alike, or they come from the same place or something, but they're not aligned. And they need to recognize, oh, I'm aligned with this person over here. That person is on a soul level more like me than you are. And that may have been forgotten here. Because I'm kind of getting somebody here could have forgot who they are. And And they tried to then sabotage somebody, pull up the ladder behind them is what I'm hearing. But it was emotional. There's like an emotional reason. And it's because in the past they could have experienced power moving around them in some kind of way, but their sun energy changed. The way that they present themselves changed, or their career or changed. If they had a big career change, it could have been because there was some kind of scorpionic energy, a betrayal, a secret, something, and it really changed them, this shadow person. And now they're like taking that out on people who don't have any power. I have a lot of question marks about like how this power person is seeing this other person. I think it has to do with safety, or they think that they're in some kind of position of safety. They've been taught to see this person as, I just heard vermin, or fearful, like a threat. But this person's not a threat. So something here could have happened, and it might have been like a death energy. And there could have been something here scheming around. And I think it's happened again. I just heard it's happened again. Like for this shadow person. They're like, oh my God, that happened again. Somebody was like moving around me again and I missed it again. But it's because they're sitting in a different seat now. And they're looking with different eyes. And they didn't see all these like intersections of the hierarchies. So something here was moving beneath. Somebody maybe they thought was a friend or whatever. They could have whoever this friend was could have illuminated some kind of like scorpionic energy. And they could have said something like, here's what's going on in the dark behind the scenes with this person. But that wasn't, that was the manipulation. That moment, that conversation was actually the scorpionic energy, not whatever bullshit thing they pretended to see, because it wasn't real. They had like some type of an agenda. So I feel like there could have been an ending, but it feels like a forced ending because it feels like there was a lot of strategy. It's Mars energy, competition, strategy. So somebody here could have been moving underneath the scenes to drum up competition between these two people. But also I feel like there's been a death energy, and then now somebody here is like very much up in their head, and again, very emotional and feeling guilty because I'm hearing like, oh my God, it happened again. And this person feels kind of like duped or stupid, but it was because they were only looking at the surface level. Again, there's something here, vision, only looking at the surface level, only looking at the demographic information. Okay, this kind of person is trustworthy. That kind of person, based on their demographic information, isn't trustworthy. You got to see the soul that is inside. You got to see beneath the surface here. And you got to see the tactics, and you got to see the way that this kind of energy, the power energy, moves in the world, the voice it uses. But so somebody here could feel very duped, like, oh my God, I fell for it again. There could be something here to do with time or timing, and to do with like a routine, maybe even to do with money and some type of victory. Anything else before we move on? His dad was a tow truck driver. Interesting. Yes, but there was no justice. Okay, anything else that these guys are wanting to... What?
She stole my seat.
Oh, Luna just stole Alex's seat. So maybe somebody just stole your seat. And Luna, it's like very emotional. They try to steal your seat because they were emotional. Okay, so there's something here about like moving away from like the problems and like the time that it's taken or something. But there's like a temptation here. What's the temptation? To say you're sorry, or to accept an apology here from a shadow figure, I feel. I don't know what that is. Can you make that clearer? Okay, so if you're this hermit person, somebody's watching you. It's Queen of Swords person. I think that's the manipulative person. Could be like, they have kind of protective mother energy, but in a manipulative sort of way. And they're very territorial, and they're trying to hide something here. But I feel like if you're the Virgo person, the hermit person that's kind of processing here, I don't know if you're hiding things away. I think it's this other person that's trying to hide things away. Something about like a key that they're trying to hide away, and it has something to do with the lover's energy. So, I'm getting that there was a key. One thing that they're trying to hide is that there was a key moment where they had a choice that they needed to make. They're hiding that moment away. They're hiding some kind of like key, something that would discover like some kind of pivotal moment here where they could have chosen a higher route. I think they might be trying to say that they had no other choice, or there's no other way that they could have seen it. It's a lie. It's a lie. They're just seeing that you're kind of separate from them and maybe like healing, or maybe this person went after somebody else. Like, I don't know. So Heather, thank you so much for the super chat. Morning, thank you for your insights. Yeah. So I think that's all I'm seeing here. But there's been some type of confusion here. Maybe even the confusion is around like the kiss or some kind of intimacy. Somebody here could have lied about that. What is this confusion around intimacy? This could be that like, oh, well, that person just slept their way to the top kind of thing. Okay, there's like defensive energy. They might be playing the wounded warrior, but there's like actually a defensive. That might be a like, oh my gosh, I've been like long suffering. Thank you so much for the super chat, Crying's mommy. Yeah. Somebody here could have played long suffering in a family or something. I don't know. I don't know what the specific lies are. I feel like they're trying to kind of get into that, but I think I'm going to leave that there for pile number 1. So I'm just going to put this back up here. If you have just joined us, you have joined us at a great time because we just finished pile number 1 and we're moving on to pile number 2, which is pile number 1 is the vision and pile number 2 is the pilgrim. Take a little drink here. I only like power dynamics in bed too, not always. Yeah. Beeping here too, actually. That's funny. That is funny. Your hair looks sultry and beautiful, and many blessings envelop all. Thank you. I felt like my hair looked bad today, but actually it does look pretty good. I never know how I do it. I do the same thing and it comes out how it comes out, you know? But thank you. All right. Let me just put my lip gloss on. Get a little ready for this. Y'all ready for this? What's that from? It's just like a sports thing?
Yeah, a song.
Like just a general sports thing, or is it a particular sport?
No.
It's general?
It's also just a song.
Oh, it's just a song. She woke up like this. Okay, so pile number 2, the pilgrim. All right, let's see here. Okay. That's another song. It's like, okay. I have no idea what song that is, and I doubt you do either, based on what I was singing. Okay, so Spirit, for pile number 2, Spirit Guides, what message does pile number 2 Spirit Guides have for them? What are they wanting to illuminate here for pile number 2? There's a lot of like rhythm and beats and things like, oh, I just heard rhythm. Rhythm is a dancer. Rhythm. Okay, so I have no idea what any of those things mean, by the way. Maybe this is just like a switching of the stations. They're trying to kind of tune into your energy or your frequency. They're like, rhythm is a dancer? No, not that one. Let's see. Y'all ready for this? This is funny. I don't know what this means, but I'm just going with it because sometimes it does mean something. These are all like kind of dancey songs. Like, okay. So pile number 2, Spirit, what is going on here? Maybe some of you are laughing and you're like, what? What is going on here? Not just in this moment, but in a certain arena in your life or at a certain time in your life. That's what they're kind of trying to. Yeah. And maybe there was like some kind of heartbreak. Maybe it was rhythm is a dancer, rhythm. Maybe somebody was dancing and you were confused, or maybe you were dancing up on somebody here, or you were just really feeling your groove. I don't know. This feels like I'm in a club. Rhythm is a dancer, rhythm. Yeah, somebody here like got heartbroken, and maybe it was like about a kiss. Maybe they saw a kiss, or maybe they saw some people getting up on each other. I don't know. Can't touch this. Okay, so what is going on here, Spirit? What's going on here? What's going on here? Okay, the 7 of Cups came out again. Oh, I feel like somebody didn't know what they saw here. And I don't know if like this had to do with you. You were dancing up on somebody here. maybe spirit and your guides are trying to illuminate something here, that somebody was like very confused about this. Or maybe you were the one that saw this and like your heart was kind of like broken here. Look, Queen of Rods. Is this you? Somebody is very sexy, okay? And very, okay, I'm getting like a very confident energy. So there's somebody here, it's a female energy that's very sexy, very confident, very like knows who they are, very like self-assured, and saw something here that they were very confused about. And I don't know what it was. It could have been dancing. It could have been some intimacy. It could have been like somebody comforting another person, but they didn't like it, whatever they saw. This could have been you. This could have been somebody else. They didn't like it, whatever they saw. Yeah, the Three of Swords. This is a very specific scenario. So, Wheel of Fortune. I don't know. So God stepped in. What is the Wheel of Fortune? King of Cups and the Moon. Okay, so if this was a guy that saw this, that was watching this like Queen of... Okay, I feel like what started this? That's like immediately, because I'm like, I think there may have been a chain of events here where this Queen of Rods saw something here that was like very sus to her, was very confused, very heartbroken here. But then I feel like that same thing may have happened on a different side then, because maybe she didn't know. I feel like the boundary, like, what are we? I'm hearing like, what are we? Or what? Who is that? Or what are you doing? Or, you know, so also she looks single. She looks single to me. So, maybe she was just like, all right, then I'm about to be single. I'm about to stay single, you know, or something here. And then I feel like maybe the masculine energy then saw her not beholden to him. I'm not getting that necessarily she was with somebody else or did anything to make somebody jealous. I'm not getting that. That could have happened, but I'm not really getting that. But then, so I feel like there is now this like masculine energy that, oh my God, somehow I feel like his feelings grew. So it could be that this is a guy. I just heard, I feel cucked. I feel cucked. So, but I feel like maybe his like feelings kind of grew. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on here with like the kinkage. But I feel like the emotions grew, and they feel like secret emotions. So it feels like something here like went underground and like maybe went on for a long time to do with like a lover's situation. Why are your guides bringing this up? Okay, there's a lot of clutter here, like around what actually went on here. There's a lot. I'm just getting like let me cover her up for the YouTube. Like see there all the foliage that's like around everything. It feels like there's just a lot of foliage here that's kind of blocking something. There could have been like, I don't know, somebody could have hooked up with somebody else. Maybe it was a long-term thing that was just kind of, I don't know. Or maybe this person has this behavior. Something tastes funny in my mouth. Like metallic. I don't know if that means anything to anyone. So I feel like this is maybe this Queen of Rods. Maybe just like, this is an empowered lady. Okay. But I also feel like maybe she's not going to say anything if she sees something. She's just going to act accordingly is kind of what I'm getting. This feels like a very self-sovereign person. It's like, okay, got it. Like I'm single, understood. Like, you know, and she just like left. She left, even though there was like a lot of love here. It feels like maybe these are two people that were playing games with each other. But I'm not sure that this Queen of Wands meant to play games. And I feel like this masculine may have some kind of, maybe this is what your guys are illuminating here, that likes it. Like, likes the, not just the chase, but likes, oh my gosh, likes the stagnant period. Feels like the energy is like building. And then maybe wants to build, because he sees this Queen of Rods. So he kind of knows she's got it in her. Like, because again, I'm not getting that she like really yelled or anything. I just feel that in the moment, she just acted accordingly. But he sees this Queen of Rods. I actually think she's got more self-control and self-sovereignty than he's kind of counting on. He saw this Queen of Wands and thought she's going to yell at me and the sex is going to be good after this. Like we're going to have a fight and then we're going to sleep together and it's going to be really hot. And I don't think that's what happened here, because I don't think that I think she's actually pissed. It's not a superficial emotion. I feel like maybe she feels disrespected. She feels not communicated with. It also, like, the confusion around this, around like, who is that? Like, who is that? Is that your girlfriend, or is that your, like, no. This didn't feel like a fun game to this Queen of Wands tower. So maybe there's, like, again, a misunderstanding here. It feels like, again, about the foliage. And I also think, like, I just heard kink. I feel like this masculine here seems like he has a kink of kind of stirring the pot, to be honest with you. Why is he doing that? Look, 3 of Swords. Oh my God. Okay, this is a very confusing masculine energy. This Queen of Wands, to be honest, makes sense to me. She makes very much sense to me, because she just is what she is, kind of a thing. And I think she does kind of have a short fuse, but it's like, feels like her tolerance for bullshit just isn't really there. And I think it's because she feels like, be honest with me. She wants someone who can kind of match her fire. She is looking for, like, kind of a King of Wands. And there's a King of Cups here. Maybe kind of put out her fire. This actually kind of put out her fire. Whatever went on here. But so there's some type of, like, did he do it to break her heart here, as, like, some type of betrayal? But I think that he sees her as, like, a very powerful person. Oh my gosh. Okay, so, like, this person may have binding fantasies, like, but it's because she's powerful. Like, he might like to tie her up, you know, not just her wrists either. Maybe likes, like, very strappy lingerie, or I don't know, wants to tie her to the bed, like, fully or something here. It's because she's, like, very powerful. And he does kind of feel like she doesn't know her full power here. Is that why the guides are coming through? So there was, like, a fool energy here. I feel he did something foolish or impulsive with this. Okay, because I feel like this this Queen of Wands, I feel like, is this Hierophant energy. So is, like, somebody he was married to or could have married or something here like that. Like, there was real commitment energy here, like, on offer. And, you know, the Wands energy can be very interesting, because a lot of the fire signs, like, Aries can be like this, Leo can be like this, and Sag can be like this, where at first they seem very fiery, right? Like, I'm very independent and don't tread on me. Like, I like to have my freedom and everything. But a lot of times, like, especially Aries and Leo can do very well in a marriage, actually really likes a marriage. Some part of them, it settles them down a bit. So I think, I don't know, there's something here about this, like, Queen of Wands being this Hierophant energy. I don't think it was shocking to this masculine. I feel like he always kind of looked at her as, like, this Hierophant energy, but almost because she has this fiery energy, he likes her for this, like, Hierophant energy, but it doesn't mean what he thinks it means. And I think that even if he's messed with, like, fire energy in the past, this is a very mature Queen of Wands. And like I said, her energy is pretty straightforward, and it's making sense to me, which I feel like is something respectful that you do when you're in a commitment, or if you want a commitment. There's, like, a way that you communicate with your body. Obviously this Queen of Wands is hot. I feel like she's hot. I feel like she can, like, have people. She could flirt with people. She could make him feel insecure if she wanted to. I don't think that she wants to. I think that there's a confidence here. Oh my gosh, I'm going to mispronounce this. Eliana Sophia. Thank you so much for the super chat. So she absolutely could. And I think that that's also the slight here, is she's like, I could have did what you did to me to you a few times, Cardi B. So, what's that from? Be careful with me. Be careful with me. It's not a threat, it's a warning. Be careful with me. So that right there is, like, this Queen of Wands is very hot, very sexual, very empowered, like, good leader. I feel like it's just like yes is yes and no is no. And so it's not a threat, it's a warning. Oh my gosh. And I can feel her. She's psychic too. I feel like she's psychic. There's, like, witchy energy here. And she's like, thank you. Yes. I feel like she also gets misunderstood because she's, like, hot. And I feel like people write a certain narrative onto her. Oh my God. I just, like, heard, like, oh my God. I just heard her lips. Like, I feel like people are just, because I'm seeing her try to use her lips for a certain purpose. Like, get something across to I'm seeing somebody like in a boardroom or something, you know, like making a presentation, but yet like people still sexualize her or something like that. But she is like very confident and like knows exactly who she is. And so I feel like he's brought about his own like destruction here, and he was maneuvering behind the scenes. And I actually feel like this had to do with some kind of kink. I don't know if this is you, if you're this Queen of Wands, I don't know how that's going to make you feel, probably pissed off. Because it feels like bedroom play, but I don't think that you were kind of in on it. And I don't think that he meant for it to necessarily be like so pointedly a thing. I think that he saw something here and was like very confused by it and didn't like bring it up. And his way of dealing with it was to then do something here that would be like a tower moment for this Queen of Wands and like kind of break her heart here. But then look, Queen of Wands bossed up into this temperance energy, like went inside and like balanced herself out here. And now he's like left confused because something here has been exposed. And it's caused some type of ending. And he's kind of thinking, what's he thinking? He's thinking that she's single. And he's feeling defensive about that. So I don't know, like what, because just seems like maybe this Queen of Wands looks like she can cut it off right quick. You know, if it needs to be said, she'll say it. If it needs to be done, she'll do it. It might have really gobsmacked him. I just heard the gobsmacked, which came out in another reading. I don't think it's been out yet. I think I even put it on the thumbnail. Okay, because that's making me think of those everlasting gobstoppers. Remember from when we were kids? I know it's like a Willy Wonka thing, but I remember eating those on the bus. But yeah, like, so like something here is like this everlasting thing that he's chewing on in his mouth before he can open his mouth. Like it feels like he's sucking on one of those everlasting gobstoppers. It's taking an everlasting long time for him to finish that so he can like actually open his mouth, kind of a thing. So it feels like he's watching her maybe grow in her career, maybe move away from him, maybe lay down some kind of a foundation here, in some way go independent. He feels defensive about that. But and he's sneaking around and watching like maybe even her routine or something here. But the conversation, the communication is blocked. I feel like even if these two people are talking, it feels like maybe superficial, like, hey, how's your day? How's Wednesday? It's hump day. You know, it feels like something like so superficial and like strange. But it also feels like this person wants to like kind of bum rush up onto this like Queen of Wands. But look, he's the Knight of Wands and she's the Queen of Wands. So I feel like he's been diminished in this, or it's just been exposed that he's like, he went from the King of Cups to the Knight of Wands. What's this King of Cups? Queen of Pentacles. Okay, there was some type of temptation here on his side of things. And it was somebody that looks like they were single. It's this lady. And notice the like, tee, like it's something you're like that. And oh, look, but the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords. Okay, so I feel like she's kind of the Queen of Swords behind the scenes, like kind of watching maybe here. And then now that's him getting with her is like now they're both, this is their coupledom, like the King and Queen of Swords, where they're both like defensive and like watching the other person and watching this Queen of Rods. And I feel like this must all be going on behind the scenes because this is what your guides are wanting to message and talk about. I do feel like there's, again, a lot of foliage here. And with the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, I'm seeing somebody kind of like trim back like the brushes. Okay, because somebody here's trying to hide. And maybe they're trying to hide behind the foliage. So like the greenness, the growth. Like these two people could be like, oh, we're growing together, or like we're growing our money together or something. But actually, this Queen of Wands is the favorite and is maybe calling the bluff here. In some way, it's just standing in her power and is just kind of seeing the maneuvering and for what it is. Like seeing some type of maneuvering here as you're moving that way. I just heard because you're insecure. You're moving that way instead of, it's very much known to this Queen of Wands. You're moving that way instead of just having a direct conversation with me. And by the way, that's what she wants. This Queen of Wands so badly wants a King of Wands. Like so badly. Because I feel like this guy started off as a King of Cups. And I think she was intrigued and interested by that. Could have felt very dreamy, very creative, very romantic, very emotional. But then when the time came, he didn't have at like her level, like Queen or King of Wands energy. He didn't have like court card Wands energy. And that's what she's kind of looking. She's looking for somebody who's confident, who can stand their own, who has a direct conversation, who doesn't kind of like isn't a shrinking violet or something. But instead, I feel like this person was kind of being passive and indirect and like did all this weird stuff, brought in another person. It's not looked upon as attractive. It's not looked upon as foreplay. It's not looked upon that way from this Queen of Wands. Who also has like this Queen of Pentacles energy. So is wanting something, this Queen of Rods wants something sexual, passionate, two people who can stand on their own, and then it solidifies itself into something more earthy. And by the way, this is the natural progression of things, because you have in the zodiac, it goes the fire signs and then the earth signs. So it's like, I want this to be fire and to kind of burn off the field, you know, for like growth, and then like it's gonna grow. And I feel like this Queen of Wands with the foliage kind of like knows how to make things grow is what I'm getting. That controlled burn energy like on the field. Whereas for him, I think he's trying to be like, look, things are growing over here. But he would know that the pattern of growth is this fire energy to the earth energy. Why doesn't he know that? You know? I feel she's calling his bluff here about this Four of Wands energy. So it could have been about an ending, because this, to me, it's like Bharani energy, which is ruled over by Yama, like the god of death. So it's like birth and death. So I think she's just kind of like, it also, this could have had to do with like some kind of party. I just feel like in her own way, I don't think she's trying to be manipulative. I don't think that she's trying to play games. I just think she's holding her own. She's standing and she's like, you can step to me or you cannot. But I know I want a man who can step to me, as in the Wands energy. Like, if we're going to fight, let's fight, you know, but it doesn't feel like this kink kind of thing. You know, it feels more like we need to be able to do this. So if you want to do this, let's do this, you know, but we're really going to do it. And if you can really do it, then maybe it's less of a kink. And I feel like it's kind of because he can't do the fire thing, this guy, that he kinkifies it, you know? It feels like something he can't access, like within himself. And I think might be why he's drawn to this Queen of Wands, is because she's confident. I feel like she's just confident. And, but she's also the Hierophant energy. She's somebody that you commit to. She knows what she wants. She can stand on her own. I think he wishes he was a little bit more like that. Emily, thank you so much for the super chat. All spot on. Jess is cooking, LOL. Many thanks, as always. Yes, I'm cooking with this Queen of Wands and her fire. But yeah, I think he wanted to put this queen, like he fantasized about, this is very much like wanting to dominate the dominatrix. Not that this, I mean, this Queen of Wands I think would make an excellent dominatrix. Not that she is one. I just think that she's got that kind of energy. But it feels almost like she's so empowered, but he wants to put her in this energy, like confused or not knowing the truth. And that makes him feel empowered. And he wants to have her like bound or something, but then he does want to rescue her with his wand, shall we say. And he had some kind of fantasy about that here, and then was like watching, but I think he may have done something foolish and gotten himself into a situation here. Maybe he jumped into like another Hierophant energy, but it's to show her like, see, I have Hierophant energy, but like, no, clearly not, because nobody with actual Hierophant energy is playing weird games like this and is jumping in with somebody like willy-nilly. But he recognized that this Queen of Wands has Hierophant energy, but I feel like he jumped in with that. There's some kind of temptation. There was some type of temptation there. And there is heart energy, and maybe that's what your guides are trying to explore. So what are the guides wanting to highlight here, and why? Okay, I think because I'm noticing the mountain here at the top, like if you see the top and the bottom here, but like it's at the bottom of the card, but it's the top of the mountain. Does that make sense? And it's kind of reminding me of like that hermit energy, what I was saying in pile number 1, where somebody here was like, saw something, this Queen of Wands. And I think like defense went up. But she's also like, this Queen of Wands, I really like this energy. Because I just feel like defense went up, but she's also looking right at it. She's like, what is this? But also it's like, I'm not going to give you anything. Because I think he wanted her to explode on him and to like yell. But then also like have it be a sexual thing. But instead, I think that she just kind of went cold. But also like, she's not backing down. She's like kind of like, your move. You know, she knows that would be giving away her power. And she's not trying to play a power game, but she's not responding to his power game is what I'm getting. She's winning the game by staying out of the game. And I don't know, that he just seems very emotional, and like he self-sabotages, and he's like kind of spinning his wheels. He got himself into a situation that he doesn't know how to get out of. And he's supposed to kind of like evolve past this and be like, maybe I shouldn't play these weird fucking games. But I just heard play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So I feel like him seeing her in this like kind of cold energy, which he put her in, it hurt his heart. It made him feel like heartbroken. He was like, don't you want this? Please take this. Yeah, and this truth came out too. Something about like in a change of like location or some kind of change of place. So, yeah, so there was something happened, and it feels like maybe at a party or something, but there was like a different place where she was blocked off, like didn't want to have a conversation with him. It became clear that something about that. And yeah, he felt like maybe she had made a decision here about that. But again, you know what I'm seeing is like this guy never approached her directly, because I think that would have changed things. I think her heart was broken, but I think that he was never the King of Wands, approaching her with confidence and with a strong voice to say like, I want you and only you. And that if we're going to do role play in the bedroom, you need to be clued in on that. I can't just blow up both of our lives, because if we're going to do this Hierophant thing, like there needs to be security and then the fire energy. It's not something that, no, like it's a decision that we make together, kind of thing. I think that he thought that she liked somebody else, or that she had something going on with somebody else in the secret, in the private. And I don't think she's like that. I feel like this Queen of Wands is pretty straightforward. I think that, and I also think that she would have been honest if he just asked her. Why is this being illuminated? Okay, the Fool energy. Somebody doesn't know about some kind of like foolish motive, or like some kind of like fool energy about like some kind of manipulation. And I also feel like somebody's intuition, I think it's this masculine's, was like really going off like, don't do this. But it feels almost like it had a momentum of its own. And it feels like it comes from an emotional place, but it also feels like there's no fire energy here. Or like, it's almost like I'm seeing somebody like, no, but it's like, that's what they usually would have done. So I feel like, yeah, this person like treated this Queen of Wands like he treats all the other people. So maybe there's a habit of doing this. And meets this Queen of Wands, and she's like this Hierophant energy. Maybe he's never felt that or thought that before, or wanted that before, the commitment, and didn't know how to settle a relationship is kind of what I'm getting. That's kind of what I'm getting. Kind of freaked out because didn't want to settle a relationship, or didn't know how to, or was like, what am I seeing in my head? I'm seeing like, I'm seeing somebody, I'm certain this is from something, but I'm like seeing somebody like hold a ball, and they're trying to like run it across like the end zone or something, and they're trying to like fake you out or something, like what? Like you don't even know like what, and you're just kind of like sitting there like, like knocking the ball out of the way, but they're trying to like, they're acting like they're being good at the game, like what? You don't even know, but they're like doing the most. They're expending so much energy, like right there at the end zone. And it's like, just go over there and run it across the end zone. But instead they're like in your face, like what? Like, what are you going to do? Like what, but like totally serious, but like, they're kind of like messing with you, but it's like totally serious. I don't know. Yeah. So, and I think this Queen of Wands was like caught off guard because she was expecting like a King of Wands, and I'm seeing it be really sexual because I'm seeing like him just kind of towering over her, and it's like just the full presence of just like, I own my shit. We're having a direct conversation. Like I'm not, and that didn't happen. And I feel like she was like, well, if you were trying to give me a lady boner, like you just left me hanging. Like I'm not at all turned on by this or engaged by this, because what I would need isn't here. I'm not, this isn't hot. Okay. Anything else? Okay. I feel like this masculine has been like doing something to do with like routines, maybe been focused on work, but it feels like just kicking the rock down the road. And maybe he's distracting himself with some kind of routine, but it feels like Pentacles energy. This guy's very confused in the Pentacles and the fire. And that's what like this Queen of Wands like really brought, but really he needs to be in the Page of Wands energy. He needs to explore the fire energy here, possibly with whoever he, jumped in with. He needs to be like, I left the Queen of Wands for the Page of Wands. I feel like that's actually what happened. I also feel like that's to do with sexual energy. I feel like big sexual energy, like with the Queen of Wands, and then like just this piddly little Page of Wands, like for whoever they jumped in with. And maybe there is some type of like routine around that. And it's like just a functioning dysfunction. It feels like it's just numbing out. It feels like it's kicking the rock down the road. It feels like this person's trying to outrun their emotions. And they want to kind of run forward here towards this Queen of Wands that doesn't want to speak to them. And they, again, know that something here would be foolish. It'd be foolish. Oh my gosh. It'd be foolish because I feel like this Queen of Wands upgraded. Now she's the Empress. And he's like still stuck in some kind of like fantasy land. And Spirit is like, I gotta turn the page on this. He still has a fantasy of coming in to like rescue her. He needs to kind of switch gears that she doesn't need rescuing. She needs like just love and respect. Well-rounded love. Mature love. Oh my gosh. I feel like this guy is always going to love this Queen of Wands. I mean, just, this is the one that got away. Unless he does something here, but this is just like, there's a lot of love here. There's a lot of love here. And there's like a lot of static because I feel like he's like in love with her, like in secret kind of thing, or trying to obscure that because his heart hurts because of what he saw. And he feels responsible, but I feel like he's going to have to keep carrying these wands if he doesn't. Yeah, she's just going to get out of his reach. And this becomes kind of like, there's a blockage or an obstacle here. Okay, so here's the spirit guides. Let me just cover her for the YouTube. See all the fixed signs? Okay, so that's the spirit guides. That's, I feel like, why this reading came through and the messages from your spirit guides, because there's like strong spirit guides now blocking this feminine energy because I think she broke some kind of karmic cycle. And it's because she stopped taking responsibility. Maybe she blamed herself for something here. Kind of like, I didn't do this or I didn't do that. But I feel like she did the right thing. She did what she was supposed to do. And like, it was very authentic to who she is. This like kind of Queen of Wands energy. She wants somebody to match her, but she can't lower the bar for this guy. And I think like maybe she was thinking I should have lowered the bar for him, helped him to kind of get on. And then maybe we could have actually made a go of it. But I don't think that's true actually. But I think that she spent some time here where she was like, maybe I should have. She knows that she didn't make it easy for him. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think she should have made it easy for him. And I think she wondered, like, essentially whatever she's kind of thinking in her mind is like, should I have made it easy for him? Because I think she thinks that, I was cold, I was detached, I didn't show my emotions. But she was put in an unsafe situation by an immature guy who couldn't get his stuff together on a lot of fronts, like with what went on here. Because he saw something, he didn't know how to address that maturely and directly. That spiraled out of control. He jumped in with somebody else to intentionally try to hurt her. There's a lot that went wrong on his side here. There was some type of like temptation. I do think that he did feel love. And I feel like this Queen of Wands would know that because he was showing up at first as the King of Cups. So there's a lot of love here. So it's like in the face of love, like, what do? I just heard the love of your life. In the face of your love of your life, and now there's a temptation here. What do you do? And I feel like it's kind of snapped this guy up, but he's got to work through his own karma now. And she's like being very protected by spirit guides. And I think he was waiting for his ships to come in regards of his big plan, his big knucklehead plan. And now he's confused, like why it didn't work. And he's feeling defensive. So I feel like now, finally, the energy is switching and changing where now he's starting to feel defensive. Because before he wasn't. Before he wasn't feeling defensive. I think he was feeling sad or maybe depressed or like, okay, well, I got myself into like, I'm a fly in the ointment kind of a thing. But I don't think that he was really considering that maybe he did wrong. And he, like the way that she did, because she was like, well, I know. There's self-awareness here on her side very strongly of like, well, I know that I didn't help him on. I know that I was like, just kind of like this, you know, he knew what he did because he intentionally did all of that. He's just small, like on the inside. But I think now he's starting to, my ear just started ringing. So I feel like that kind of like maybe landed, but he is starting to stop defending himself and like his higher position and realizing that he was the emperor wannabe in this situation and that he was kind of like blocked off here and that something needs to change. And that's like the tide really shifting here. And this needs to be like a seismic shift and it needs to like shift from the bottom. of him, like in his shadow. And it needs to come up from there, and kind of he needs to purge himself of his shadow. And I feel like probably it's going to put him in touch with his own wands energy, because that's where they're starting him, Page of Wands, remember? So he needs to pick up the Page of Wands, is maybe to clear the air. I'm also seeing like just a sage stick. He needs to clear the energy around his space. I feel like is really bad, especially if there was any kind of routine numbing out, or like something to do with work, or even like with the karmic that he jumped in with, the whatever the temptation was. He needs to sage out his space. I just heard the near perimeter. So if the karmic is still there, he needs to get her out of his home and like his near perimeter, and he needs to like really clear that out and sage that out so he can kind of sit with his energy, and then learn how to relate to the wands energy. They're going to start him there and kind of master that wands energy. I think once that's ready, he might be able to step back to this Queen of Wands, but it's also going to lead to some kind of Pentacles energy as well. Look, there's a Judgment. Something here is like being unearthed. So maybe for him to step out of like whatever this karmic situation is that he jumped into, because this feels like a karmic, there's very temptation kind of thing. Maybe there's a family that's involved, but it's like unearthing. I think he needs to blow the horn on it. So like he needs to call time, but I think he needs to unearth his emotions. I feel like if he moved on with a karmic, and it could have been several, because some of these people have like a bit of a habit. They like to triangulate and make people jealous, and that's their kink. They don't really care about these people or whatever. They just like to feel like fought over. But if they did actually jump into like kind of even eventually, or maybe even soon after that, like a family situation, instead of being able to, again, go back, be the King of Wands, step to this Queen of Wands, own his masculinity and his sex drive, and say, apologize and do the man thing, the right thing. Because in her eyes, I feel like that would be manly and hot, but he didn't want to do that. So it needs to out his emotions, because I feel like this was something started from a state of emotional despair and sadness. Yeah, and he needs to say that he loves manipulating people, and that's ending. And for a lot of you, this is like just a guy who sleeps. I think he needs to just say, I like manipulating people and sleeping with a lot of people through manipulation. But he's grown in some kind of strength. Also, I mean, if he's with another person, this person is just going to dominate him. Because really, he's a slippery kind of guy, but that might be what's introducing him to his fire, because he's going to have to stand up. Because I feel like this guy just runs away, and he might have just like ran away. He didn't stand up. Again, there needed to be a confrontation here. It's weird, but he wanted her to start it. He's so turned on by that. But so he wanted there to be a confrontation, but he didn't want to start it. Oh, because of his kink. Because I'm sorry if this is like weird, but I feel like this kink thing like really played a lot into this situation, because he wanted there to be a conflict, but he didn't want to start it. It's like a power thing. And so he needs to learn how to start a conflict that's a healthy conflict for healthy reasons. That's his shadow. And he needs to integrate that shadow. Once he does, that's not going to be a kink anymore. That's how that works. It won't be a kink anymore, because the conflict energy is just going to be associated, like hers is, with repair and like the work of a relationship and things like that. It's not this like kind of weird fun zone where he can kind of play but not ever have to master it himself. So he's going to be put in a situation with a karmic or multiple karmics. I mean, it seems like he's out on the town, this guy. But that's really going to dominate him. Going to seem very, it could be something that he sees on a regular routine level. They could act like they're of service to him. They could act like they're very sweet, or they're very innocent, or something like that. I don't know. But she's really going to dominate him. And he's going to have to realize that he's a fool. He's going to have to learn how to use his voice and stand up for himself and kind of push back and like kind of create boundaries. It's going to feel the furthest thing from sexy. Because he likes to feel like he dominates over people with his manipulation and through like triangulation, and you don't want me to leave and you don't want to be with this person, do you? But I think that especially there might be a kid here, or eventually there's going to be a kid here. She's really going to have all the cards and really be able to kind of put the kibosh on that, where it's like, well, you don't want it to get out that you cheat on the mother of your child, do you? Because I could kind of ruin you with that. It feels like maybe there's a situation here, like she's going to hold all the cards. It's no longer going to be fun and lighthearted, where he's able to kind of skip away from consequence and repercussion. This feels like actually very heavy. And there's going to come out like the truth about some kind of blockage. I just felt like I wanted to cry. I feel like he needs to cry. This guy needs to cry, but he's a long way from that, because I feel like he's numbing out in some way through some kind of like routine here. He's not really wanting to look at himself, But I feel like he distracts himself with this like weird kink thing that he does. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that there. Pile number 2. That was probably not what you were expecting. Me neither. Probably with this person, it was not what you're expecting. I really genuinely think if you're the Queen of Wands, you really thought this guy was the King of Wands. You really thought that he could bring the heat. You really thought that he could bring the fire. I think that you were ready for that. But yeah, I think also like you were connected to the water energy, that King of Cups energy that's like very well developed. That's like kind of what turned you on here. But he also, I don't know. It's like you never could really get to that. Or he couldn't sustain it or something like that because he doesn't have any fire, interestingly enough, and no earth. Okay, so that was pile number 2. I'm going to put this back up here. If you're just joining us, you have joined us at a very good time. We just finished pile number 2, which is the Pilgrim. And we're moving on to pile number 3, which is the Mystic. It was my reality. It's mind-bending. Interesting. I used to have a submission kink, but once I started integrating my shadow, I'm no longer interested in that. Well, I mean, Pluto rules over sexuality and it rules over power dynamics. And that's why I actually think that BDSM, like when it's healthily done and you make sure that everybody is like consenting, which is not what this guy did, by the way. He just went like totally rogue and didn't care about his partner. And like, because he hurt her heart and in a way that was like, he didn't know, he couldn't fix. It's not that it was necessarily irreparable, but he didn't have the stuff to fix it, you know? But it's my understanding in those BDSM relationships, you talk about those things, and so I actually think that it can be like a healthy tool for exploring your shadow and like exploring different power dynamics that maybe were pushed upon you in the past and like being able to kind of transform that. But Pluto also rules over the psyche, like psychology. So sex is deeply psychological. And the things that we like and the kinks that we have are deeply psychological. And they are very much, I think, tied to our shadow in some way. So as you start to integrate that shadow, then you kind of figure out who you actually are, I think, in bed. And it's no longer coming from this kind of wounded place. And I don't mean that like to poo-poo on any like kinks or anything like that. But I think a lot of that is like crying out for some kind of healing and some kind of union or some kind of, trying to... I really think that our psyche kind of calls in certain experiences so that we have an opportunity to kind of repair ourselves and explore like different things. And so, yeah, some people do need to explore themes of betrayal and power dynamics and things. And maybe he has that in his past, this pile number 2 guy, but he's not exploring it in an honest way. Like he's not going right at it. I think he's just acting it out. And he's just like, well, I just think this is my kink or whatever. And he might not be able to, my mom always said to me, when I was like growing up, she said, if you can't talk about sex with your partner, you shouldn't be doing it. And so I feel like with him, I don't think that he likes to talk about it much, to be honest. I think that he likes to just put certain things in motion to have things act out a certain way. And it's almost like puffing on a cigarette. It like confirms that he's attractive or like desirable or something. But I feel like, with the Hierophant energy coming out, it's like you're going to be in a committed relationship. Like you got to clue somebody in. Because it feels almost like he loves them and leaves them sort of a thing, kind of discards them. He doesn't have to, he's in a really bad cycle is what I'm getting, where he doesn't have any practice repairing relationships because he just kind of flits here and there and everywhere and keeps people confused and like kind of pining after him because he never gives them any resolution. Well, that's the kiss of death for a Hierophant kind of relationship. And he was like, yeah, I'm never going to give you any resolution. And I'm waiting for my ships to come in. Like, why aren't you chasing me? That's kind of what I'm getting for pile number 2. And I think for the Queen of Wands, that is so foreign. That would be so foreign because I think she was thinking this was going somewhere as well. Didn't realize that he just didn't have the skills because I think he came off very confident, very like self-assured, very maybe unique. And she thought that uniqueness must mean that he really knows who he is because he expresses himself in a certain way. But then he's the soggy taco in some aspect because I do think there's some kind of psychological trauma or something that he's just playing out and not actually working out. And then he doesn't have any practice in actually repairing a relationship. So that's what I have. Yeah. It's shame-filled. But he didn't want to talk so we could heal this. He just wants to forget the past. That's very much what I'm getting from this person. Yeah. And he was waiting for her to do all the work and for her to initiate everything, which the Queen of Wands is more than capable of doing. And I think that he knew that she was more than capable of doing that. But she just won't because she has self-respect and she is also kind of like questioning him, which I think that she should be. But I think that she did go through a period where she was like, well, maybe I should have helped him on. I'm hearing Charlotte from Pride and Prejudice where she's talking about Jane. She's talking to Elizabeth about her sister Jane, Elizabeth's sister Jane. And Jane likes Bingley, but Jane is very shy and modest. And Charlotte is like, she's got to help him on. And she was like, she is like that's her being like in love, you know. That's as out there as she's going to put herself, you know. Until she knows his character more. And I feel like this Queen of Wands needed to see something here from this masculine in order to even like help him on a little bit more. So if this is you, don't blame yourself, because I feel like she was blaming herself, thinking, well, I could have done more. You could have done more, but I think this was important that this kind of like came out, you know. Leo Love, thank you so much for the super chat. Love you, Jess. You look beautiful. Thank you for literally saving my life last year. God bless. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay. Is it weird when I talk to you guys from behind the cards? Okay, so we're going to move to pile number 3, the Mystic. Every single time I've looked at this card, my eyes read the Mystic and my brain says the Mentor, like literally every single time. So there could be something here about like Mystic and Mentor, and I can't tell if it's like they're combining those energies, your spirit guides here for pile number 3, or if they're kind of separating it out to like distinguish between like what is a Mystic and what is a Mentor. Oh, you know what? I also remembered. This has nothing to do with the pile, unless maybe it does. I've been really wanting a donut, just like a glazed donut. And I asked Alex, because he's going to go grocery shopping today. And I asked if he would get me 2 glazed donuts. And he said he's going to. And that is going to happen for me. And I just got really, really excited about that. So maybe there's something that you've been craving or something that you really, really want. And you're like, man, it's been a while since I've just had a glazed donut. And somebody was talking about glazed donuts earlier, like in the intro, because they were like, should I get the multi or should I get the Krispy Kreme? And I was like, oh yeah, donuts. Yeah, we were talking about donuts earlier. We are so, isn't that weird? We're so like linked up. I got goosebumps. I kind of wonder how this works. Oh, okay. Maybe this is part of the reading with the Mystic and the Mentor. Literally, okay, I'm hearing the word quantum, but because sometimes I wonder about this, like how linked up are we? You know, like when we die and we kind of piece together, it's like the people that are in like your soul group or whatever, like do you have the same kind of cravings or something? I don't know. I'm just making this up now, but it's like I wonder like what does it mean to be in sync with people, like on this kind of energetic quantum level. And while we ponder that, I'm just gonna put a little bit of lip gloss on, just for myself. It's all connected. Dr. Pepper for life, my longest love. Yo, Alex agrees with you. Alex loves Dr. Pepper.
Objectively the best soda.
He's always saying that. It's objectively the best soda.
No, I'm not saying it with that inflection.
I hope you guys can hear this. I'm not saying it with that inflection. I'm just stating it as a matter of fact. Dr. Pepper people are...
I don't have to say it defensively because it's just a matter of truth.
Okay, maybe this is part of the pile. He doesn't have to say it defensively. It's just a matter of truth. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to use Jess's deck that she sent this to me, and it's a gamer deck, and I can't remember the name of it. But I really like this deck, and that surprised me. This is maybe another part of the reading. It really surprised me because I'm not really a gamer, and I was like, okay, am I going to get it? But I get it. And it's like, okay, maybe that's with the Mystic, like some kind of thing. It's like, this isn't really my thing. The Mystic spirituality thing. Am I going to get it? Oh, new game. Boss battle. Okay, new game. Does this part of the world seem smaller? You did it. You have 100% completion in this story. Now take all that loot and hard-earned experience into a new dawn. Those early game challenges won't stand a chance this time. Okay, I'm getting goosebumps. I feel, oh my gosh. Okay, this feels like, I really feel like you have done it. Like you're getting ready to like pop up onto like a new level of consciousness, a new level of existence where you're going to see things like entirely different. And boss battle was here. Yeah. I feel like you had some kind of like boss, like with the big boss. And like the only game that I've really played a lot of was Super Mario. So it was the Bowser one. So you go through the castle and like the last final is Bowser, where you fight Bowser. And he was like always so big and scary and everything. And that's like exactly what like this is. So I feel like you fought some kind of like big scary energy or like thing in yourself. This feels very David and Goliath, which by the way has been coming out in the readings a lot, because I think I said it in pile number 1. It's come out in some of the other readings. This is the moment of truth. You have grown your skills diligently and with honor, or have you brought shame onto the house of the developers with your careless frivolities. Judgment is here. Okay, so there could be even like a judge energy, but I'm not really getting that. I feel like you've like overcome certain things. I just heard we shall overcome. For some of you, that's like something that you need to hear is your guides are very much with you because that's like that we energy, like we shall overcome. Okay, so I feel like this is kind of like a bit crackly. What is coming through here? I feel all over the place. Okay, I feel like this is part of this energy, like you're popping up into some kind of new energy, but then it's like I'm all over the place and I don't know like really what to do because like you're not falling back on your same old patterns and routines. And this is like normal or it's okay. This is the wrong deck for me. Oh, okay. So you might feel like your intuition is a little bit off during this like time period. Because again, like you're kind of getting acclimated to some kind of like new, okay. And I can't help but be a little bit skeptical because usually pile number 3, a lot of times pile number 3 can be that like really weird energy that always tries to sabotage the readings. And I've learned, and you'll hear me say this like in some of the readings that are coming out on the channel where I'm like, sometimes I need to slow down and really interrogate my intuition in order to kind of out this person that tries to come through in the readings in order to confuse us. And I'm going to do that right now. So where is this coming from? Look, the King of Wands. 5 of Wands. The 3 of Wands. Is this the boss battle? I feel like this is the boss battle. Is kind of uncovering this King of Wands that has some type of plan to cause like argument or confusion or strife here. And didn't the 5 of Wands come out in pile number 1? Or is it pile number 2? I think it was pile number 1. They might be trying to get you back like on a loop or something here like that, but they could be causing some kind of confusion. Who is this? It's like the devil energy. So this to me is like this big boss battle here of like this karmic, but I feel like it's this devil energy. Somebody's like really attached to you. I think they're very sexually attracted to you and you're feeling like anxious. I feel like you feel like trapped in some type of prison, some kind of, you thought it was a sanctuary I just heard, or you thought it was love, or you thought it was something here, but this is like your op. Some of you like are with like an op or like married to an op or something here. Tiger Butterfly, thank you so much for the super chat. Donut to me is a quantum thing. The whole is source inner. The outer is the outer world, at least meaning for me. Interesting. And I'm going to think about that when I'm eating my donut. Okay. Yeah. So, I feel like you're nearing the end of this cycle where you're starting to peel back certain layers and maybe you're going over and over again with certain things. This is reminding me of a message that I recorded yesterday, but it'll come out on the channel in 1,000 years because I've been working my way up. Well, not in a couple weeks, I think. But it was something about you. Oh man, I just lost it. It was something about you. Oh, you were going around and around in your head. There's some kind of, okay. That was actually a reading from your guides as well that came through. Interesting. So it may be that this needs to come out this like right now, but then also like whenever it comes out on the channel might be relevant for you in some kind of way, because what was coming through is that this is all part of like your process and that you're actually processing, and it might seem like you're spinning your wheels and that you're not getting anywhere. I'm getting goosebumps. Oh my gosh. It's like cold quantum energy here. I don't know what I mean by that, but it just feels like almost otherworldly. And so it feels like maybe you're spinning your wheels and you're going around and around, you're not getting anywhere, but you are actually elevating in this process because you're processing. And there's been something here, this boss battle energy, and I feel like it has to do with this King of Wands that is in some type of devil energy. You've been confused because you've been in maybe some kind of fantasy. I mean, the castle, it could have been that you shared a house like with this person, but you've been in some type of fantasy here. And like you've been going around and around in your thoughts, not really being able to solve it. But it's because you can't really solve this equation on that level that you're on. You got to pop up to kind of like this next level to be able to see that maybe there's been some kind of like manipulation here by this King of Wands. And this to me feels like this big boss battle, but it feels like maybe a battle for your life. I just heard for some of you, but like for your sovereignty, like wrestling your own life back and your own mind back, because he's been like maybe controlling you. Okay, I'm seeing like in Aladdin where he smashes Jafar's staff, and he's been controlling you with this, you know, that like kind of cobra energy. And of course, Jafar is a sorcerer in that movie, but So it could be that there has been like magic done, and that came out in that reading, but it also could just be through manipulation tactics that make you feel in love, or that make you feel like whatever this person's doing, it's for your own good, or like they just never let you leave the house because they love you so much, or because, you know, this or that. But it feels like this has been a big kind of like fight over your consciousness. And it's kind of like spirit is asking you to like leave. It feels like some kind of fantasy, but it's not like a fantasy that you're fully responsible for. And it's not one that came from this guy. It feels like something that he's taking full advantage of, though. I'm saying he because it's the King of Wands and the Devil card. And then the Mystic and the Mentor. Again, are those the same thing or are they different things? Oh, because it's not really about learning. Like the mentor would help you learn facts and figures. This is like quantum. It feels like this is an inner. And see, like with the Mystic, it's like an inner, like some kind of transformation here. And maybe it is happening at night. It's causing you to see something different here, or it's like some kind of internal something. This isn't just you learning something different. This is like a whole new perspective on life. And it feels very energetic, like having some type of different, like energetic view on life or something here like that. Yeah. And you kind of getting independent here in some kind of way. So being free of him and maybe he's tried to, it's like he's tried to control you with some kind of fantasy, but then if you want to get away from this, he wants to throw the book at you or like point to some kind of clause or something in like a contract or something here, or send somebody else to do that. Or you're his favorite. So it could be that some of you have gotten away from this person, but then they've sent energy, or because the reason I'm saying this, I never know what this actually is. When I pick up on this very manipulative energy that like very much comes through, it could be magic that they're intentionally doing. And in that reading that's going to come out on the channel, I was like, just consider, even if you don't think this person would actually do magic, and I'm not saying they are, and only take this if that resonates, but consider that somebody who's very manipulative and they're losing control over you, that magic, especially from an ego state of consciousness, that's very me oriented. I want what I want. So I'm going to send magic to make you call me or think about me or dream about me or long for me. Something like that. That's a natural step from somebody who's manipulative and is used to using the tools, right, with the magician that they have around them, accessible and available to them to control you. But if you get away, if they're thinking about how can I affect that person from a distance, they may stumble across magic, whether they're actually doing it or whether they're paying somebody somewhere to do something of it, magic of an ego level consciousness, which isn't magic like that I like to do and that we talk about doing on this channel, where it's like you are using it to defend yourself, but you're using it to kind of to cut your chains and to soothe yourself and cleanse your auric and things like that. That's not coming from an ego level of consciousness. That's coming from a liberation quantum level of consciousness. And that's the level of consciousness that I feel like will actually like get into this. Now, every time I talk about this, they try to scare me, and they're trying to scare me now. They're trying to block this off. They really want you, I think. They want you as a prize. And they want some kind of like, I just heard recompense for their hurt. Maybe this person feels like you hurt them when you exited their dream, when you exited their fantasy. And even for this person, see my throat here? Even this person, I think this is good for this person. You exiting their fantasy, like whatever they were trying to coat you in this kind of like fantasy here. And when you left, I think their ego level consciousness was what's hurt. This is even an opening for them to like more of a quantum level. And honestly, this sucks, but it might have been that them like trying to learn magic or do magic or send magic towards you was like a part of them realizing about energy. And the next thing is for them to realize, I'm hearing the word like liberation, that they can like liberate their soul, you know, in some kind of way, but it's like on some type of journey. There is this person trying to level up on the physical, but that might be through you. Yeah, there's some kind of like teamwork here. It could be that this person's with somebody else and they got something built with somebody else, and that they're under like some kind of cover. They're trying to teamwork with you on the physical and then claim that something here is like an accident. This person could also be trying to sabotage you. So recompense for their hurt is kind of what I'm getting. So for some, this is about vengeance. Because you got away. For some of you got away from this person. For others, you're thinking about getting away from this person. But some of you have gotten away from this person. You're like at a distance and you're the star and you're healing and you're different now. And they want to betray you. They want to hurt you and run away. Oh, the leaf just fell. Or maybe they did do that in the past. They betrayed you and ran away, and then some of you started over from scratch is what I'm hearing. And you built your own thing here. And whatever it is, it's solid, and you have boundaries around you to where this person can't affect you. And maybe it's even grown into the 10 of Pentacles, or it will grow into the 10 of Pentacles. And that doesn't sit well with this person. Because I think they felt like whatever they did to you, you should have never gotten up from that. Yeah, I think this person was trying to like get one up on you. Or for those of you that are like thinking about leaving, maybe this is like the threat is like, oh, well, I'm just going to like have this 10 of Pentacles with somebody else if you make a final decision to leave. But they're actually feeling defensive here of you doing that, which is maybe why they're holding that over your head and saying that, is because they're thinking that about you. And you blew it up. This is like, I feel like the point of this like final boss battle is for you to like finally end this tower of like you and this person, you know, and whatever this was built on, which was, it seems like a lie, fantasy, because they manipulated you to think about them in a certain way that they aren't actually, in order to get you to move in with them. Because I'm really getting with the castle, that's like, it's a fantasy, but it's also a house and a structure. So they could have told you a lie. This is just something to clock here. They could have told you a lie to get you to move in with them. Even if you've gotten away, it might be worth thinking about a time in like whenever, if you were living with this person, like when did you move in with this person and like what did they say? Because that might not have been the whole truth. But I feel like you're kind of just like blowing this up. There was some kind of, look, for some of you, there was like tower energy already because you like left, you up and left. And it was maybe in the wake of something bad happening, or in the wake of you leaving, which was like this bad, something bad happening. This person was watching you and doing magic for some of you, or just manipulating, or they could have been manipulating a third party into doing something towards you. They put some type of plan together here. I feel like I'm uncovering something, to be honest. They wanted, it was some kind of plan to like have you left out in the cold. Maybe they sent somebody towards you to, I don't know, for some of you, I just heard like get you pregnant and then like leave or something. That's not gonna be for everybody. That's like really extreme, but I feel like that also just demonstrates the level of depravity here. Or they wanted you to be seen as like lacking or immoral. They could have been trying to send something towards you here to where you were seen in a certain light. You were seen as like weird, strange, different, or I just heard whore. And or they wanted to block like, again, even other options for you. People that were interested in you sexually or something here like that. But under the cover of darkness is what I'm getting. Under an illusion. This person was like coding and trapping you in illusion is what I'm getting. Either through their manipulation, if you don't feel this person was doing magic. But honestly, like on this channel, this energy comes through, you know? And it's like you got to catch it because it seems believable at first. It seems plausible. And then you have to kind of like look into it, you know? And it usually comes out in like pile 3. Something here under the illusion of friendship. Yeah. They were trying to end something for you in your routine as well. Like this even could have been a job. But you can, this is just, there's something here that you're afraid of. It was like pushed towards you on an energetic level. Yeah. To try to tempt you back to them. Something you didn't know about. And again, like this could have been done like in sleep or like just without your awareness to make you uncertain, to give you an option, to make you question. It doesn't even have to be this person. Like they could have tried to call somebody else in. Because I feel like for some of you, this is the level, like not only with this, like if this is a masculine energy, for instance, they want you to think that they're like the best option. And I think it's so that they can like betray you or so that they can have a child with you. And that would like seem victorious to them because then they would have you under some kind of control or something, or For some, they really want to have a kid with you. Just like they just really want to have a kid with you for some reason. Yeah. Like it could be to like expand or something here, but it also could just be because they're watching you expand elsewhere. This person has such a negative, horrible energy, but I feel like it's surprising because I think it came through like love at first or like very cooperative. And then it's surprising how vicious this person is and cold and calculated and determined too, like to cause a problem here. But also like they thought you were no match for this, but I feel like your nobility. Okay, so this is making me think of a quote in Pride and Prejudice. And this came out in a reading, I think, as well. But it was like, Elizabeth is talking about, she's talking about Lydia. And maybe this person thought that you were Lydia. So Lydia Bennet is, or maybe they were trying to make you like that. I don't know. Lydia was kind of boy crazy. She was very young. She was like 14 or 16 or something like that. And she's the one that runs off with Mr. Wickham, who is a shyster. And maybe this person did that to somebody like around you who was these things, maybe boy crazy or naive, like innocent, didn't really kind of understand. But when Elizabeth is kind of processing this, at one point she says she didn't have the virtue or the understanding to keep her from falling an easy prey because she was so young. So I think like with the strength card, I feel like for a lot of you, you're very noble and you're very virtuous. So you were holding off whatever like destructive energy this person was like continually and with like a lot of force trying to send towards you in some way, either through manipulation and guile. So they were trying to whip up a lot of people's like opinions about you behind the scenes, or they were trying to force, this is forceful energy. They're trying to force their way in, and they wanted to see you like defeated, or whatever you were building. They wanted to see that defeated. And if you're in a relationship with somebody else, they wanted to see that defeated too. And even if you just had the gall to leave this person, they didn't want to see you move on with somebody else, somebody that has this strength energy, somebody that's this like regal lion kind of energy. They didn't want to see that. It could have even been that they went to somebody to try to like have them read like your cards to see what was coming for you. And somebody may have, I'm just saying this because somebody once told me that this person was like in my family and they went through a hard period where they were calling psychics, like those telephone hotline psychics that cost like $100 for 15 minutes. They were doing that. They've just gone through a breakup. And at the time, it was part of their process. But finally, eventually, she had processed enough and ran out of time when she was on one of the calls and started asking about me and my life, which I think is immoral. Like, I don't think that you should ask about like, okay, well, I'm done like asking you my questions. Like, can you tell me about this other person and like what their like future holds? And she was asking about the person that I was supposed to marry and everything. And she was like, do you want me to tell you? And I was like, sure, eventually. But I don't know, it kind of like sat weird with me. But I feel like this person could have done something like that. Like, well, who's this person going to be with? Maybe they asked so that they could try to be that person. Yes, confirmation. Could be a Leo that's coming in, or maybe you're a Leo. But there's like nobility and strength energy. So you had enough virtue to like sidestep this like thunderous crash that they were trying to like maybe break you up, or they were trying to like ruin your life or something here. You had enough virtue, or you had enough understanding. That's the mentor energy. But I feel like it's caused something. They were trying to send this like heartbreak energy towards you. They were trying to hurt you. And it feels like from a distance is what I'm getting. And they're so focused on you. And if they're not trying to do magic, I feel like or they were trying to frame you. They were sending some negative ass fucking energy. Maybe it just rolls off of this person. I'm unsure. But I really don't know what this is. And but I will know. I think I will know eventually, because to me with this person, it's like we're archaeologists. We just keep digging a layer deeper, and it always kind of comes out. Because this person is trying to like shroud their influence, because I think they want you to view them genuinely as that King of Pentacles. And it could be because whatever this person did in the past, and maybe you found out about why you left, you could have found out they were lying about something. You no longer saw this person as the King of Pentacles, if you ever did in the first place. Or maybe they're just upset that you never saw them as a King of Pentacles, and they want to manufacture that. But in order for them to do that, they have to have you be around people who just super suck. So again, like they could have been manipulating to get people to treat you in a certain way or to view you in a certain way. Again, I just heard like whore, but that also could have been magic done. Yeah, or to have you like not chosen or something. So be very careful with messages like this, because I'm not trying to induce like a paranoia or things that you don't like, haven't seen or like kind of felt. But yeah, they wanted people to blame you. Why are they so cruel? They wanted to stagnate you. Look, the Empress, I really feel like this person wanted you to have their baby. Or maybe you do have their baby and they want you to just come back and have another one or something. They wanted you to think that something needed to change and like to go back to them and be like, oh, you're the answer. That's really what I'm getting. This is a manipulative fool. But I feel like for a lot of you, this person is not your wish fulfillment. They're trying to make you think that they're your wish fulfillment. And if you are with this person, they don't want me to say this. If you are with this person, they want you to think that you're totally fulfilled in this relationship, but it's like magic that they're doing. For some of you, it's gone on for a long time. But you're busting free of this. Okay, and this is the new level of consciousness that you're on. Because I feel like you've been living life as though if this is such a specific message, you guys. Please only take this if it resonates. But this is the new, like you're busting out of, this person tried to like, this is a moth, and like moths are at nighttime. And they go towards the light, because it's like this person wanted to cloak your existence in a darkness so that they were the light and you were the moth, like flying towards the light, like, oh my God. And then like, they're going to bug zap you. It's kind of like what I'm getting in some kind of way, because it could be that this person has somebody else on the side here as well, that they're just obsessed with control and like domination, and they're not. Yeah, maybe they wanted you to feel, they want to have control over you, but it's like because they wanted you to think that they were the bee's knees and that they were your everything, and that all other roads have been closed to you, and then like break your heart by being with somebody else. Or maybe, yeah, like have you hear about them getting married or something, but then like have you stuck on them because they're mad at you. They're pissed at you. Because they felt like they loved you. This isn't love, and this person's not capable of it. But they're mad that you like, there was some type of crossroads moment, and either you went a different way or you were thinking about going a different way. Fire Toad, thank you so much for the super chat. Is there anything specifically that we can do to cut this off completely? I still feel pressure on my solar plexus from this. Well, you're waking up, like you're seeing this clearly. The mystic energy is coming in. Look, the world. So there's some kind of karma going on here. Look, justice. Okay, so there's some kind of balancing out of justice. This is definitely a karmic. I feel like there was a soul contract here. That you were going to be bound or restricted in this certain way. Look, the Lovers. Four of Pentacles. And it could have been that this person saw you with like an actual lover's energy, or like there's an actual soulmate energy that was like, I don't know, taken aback by this and kind of sneaking around. Why is this karma playing out? Because if we can understand the karma, then we can maybe understand how to get out of it, right? The karma exists so you can walk away from it. You thought this was love, but you were confused. That's what it's trying to teach you, like what love is or what it isn't. So making this go away is, look, Queen of Cups and the Hermit. Okay, so what I'm getting from this Queen of Cups is Pushya energy, which is at the beginning of Cancer. Pushya energy is one of those energies that is resistant to magic. So maybe there's been a transformation, or like there's some kind of quantum or like meditating or something here where you're seen on a higher level. Okay, so I've been doing this meditation. Maybe I'll share it over on Patreon. Cause like you connect with like that quantum field. And so at the end of the meditation, cause you go through like the different parts of the body, you know, like you just scan that, you commune with it just to kind of get yourself into that meditative space. Then you're kind of like thinking about the life that you would like to have, but then you emit that into the quantum field, but then you surrender it to a higher mind. And I feel like for some of you, it's like how to do that, like surrender it to a higher mind. And for me, that's Shiva, but yeah, Shiva, destructor. Like, I just heard destroyer of wills, because this feels like a battle of wills. Okay. So it's not about like, battling the wills. Like, don't battle this out, because send it to like this divine consciousness, this divine will. But if you can do that in a meditative state, I feel like that will actually like really help, where you yourself are emitting this, but then you surrender it up to a higher mind. And this higher mind is what I'm getting is what's viewing you, differently. And that's what is, like pulling this apart. Tiger Butterfly, thank you so much for the super chat. Convergence on a quantum level to assist in the releasing of regaining your own sovereignty. Exactly. I'm going to think about that. Convergence. Yeah. Convergence and emergence on a quantum level to assist in the releasing of and regaining your own sovereignty. Yeah. And this is about finding that, and it's about leaving the situation. But a lot of things, like when you think about it, a lot of things had to occur for you to release this karmic. Like you had to, I don't know, like, because for some of you, you just had to get up the nerve to leave. You had to see this person clearly. And for some of you, this has to do with like becoming aware of some kind of magical energy that was being thrown at you, or becoming aware of their manipulation tactics, seeing through the fantasy. For others, this, like I said, this person maybe didn't put it there, but they totally took advantage of the fact that like patriarchy, this for some of you, I think circles back to pile number 1. They totally took advantage of the patriarchy, like the hierarchical systems or something. Maybe this person had a hierarchical system or something over you or whatever. Maybe that was operating in the background or something here, and they just took full advantage of that. Shiva really is so comforting. Like, guy is so chill, like just so chill and so self-fulfilled and so loving. And I really is like a very comforting energy. And also the cow that's with him, the thing that he rides, the person that he rides. I can't think of the name. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? Somebody's going to put it. Comforting as well. Anyways, helps the followers of Shiva. True divine masculine. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, that's what I'm getting. Like, this is transcending like a 3D kind of level consciousness, seeing from a higher mind or like from a higher perspective. And that's what's kind of like releasing you. It's connecting in with that space. And I feel like this is really through meditation, however it is that you do that. Yeah. Or like look up quantum field meditation or something like that and find something that sits well with you, works well with you. Yeah, this is a real devil energy. So it's like they got to bind you in some way, like in terms of this karma. And I feel like you kind of willingly went into this in order to learn. It's like Houdini or David Copperfield. Remember those magicians that this was going on a lot when I was young, where they're like, I'm going to put myself in this cage and I'm going to tie my arms behind my back. And also I'm going to submerge myself in water and I'm going to get out of it like in under 60 seconds because that's when a person explodes or something. You know, it's like, it feels like kind of like that, where you are learning how to get yourself out of a bind, this like kind of karmic bind here, in order to be truly free and independent. Yeah. Look, he's so sad and like, because he's like very lacking here, put forth some kind of image, you know, with the lovers. Doesn't want, really does not want to see you move on with some kind of like lovers energy. There's Rohini energy here, which is like favorite energy, because this person is kind of coming across a bit like a cheater, because Rohini was like the favorite wife to the moon. And so that's not really love. Like, you're the favorite here, and maybe that's like kind of what you know, but this person is with other people. You know, it's just that Rohini just happens to be the favorite. He spends an extra night with her or whatever. But Rohini is also this kind of born sexy yesterday. So maybe a lot of you were like you're learning not to be so trusting, you know, but Rohini eventually like realizes that she's been like kind of held captive. She realizes that she was kind of created by this person. And again, I feel like they're created via manipulation, via patriarchy, via, you know, you are supposed to be this like everything that women are taught to be: innocent, childlike, you're supposed to be used. You're an object to be used. And so like you kind of were fulfilling that. And then Rohini eventually kind of realizes that was kind of created to serve like this person's needs, and then ends that person and exits the garden. It's kind of like the plot of El Mahina. That's the energy of like that of Taurus into Gemini. And then that starts their own hero's journey where they go find themselves. And I feel like, so you're exiting something here, and you go to like find yourself. That's like kind of the purpose of this. So, okay. They want you to feel like you can't win. Yeah, but you're breaking free of this. You're breaking free of this. You have the help. You have like help of God. And for some of you, this involves like an actual change and move of location. Yes, confirmation. And Spirit has maybe helped you move away from this person. I just heard, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That was like good, getting you distance from this person. It was like an important step here, so that you can build a foundation in some kind of like healthy routine, and to block this like Knight of Wands energy from getting at you, and you can be happy. I just heard that Taylor Swift song is like, and we were happy. But I feel like that's this person saying that to you, like, we were happy, and you're like, you're crazy. Please get away from me. Yeah, so that's what I have here for pile number 3. This was a bit of a wild ride. This was a bit of a crazy one. This is a masculine energy doing this too. And I feel like part of their confusion is trying to mask their energy as anything and everything else, trying to get you to doubt anybody and everything else except for them, trying to come through as though they're a third party that's like a feminine side, to make you feel anxious about that third party, like interloping on your space because they can use that and control that. But actually it's this masculine. I feel like it's a masculine energy that I want to say is a third party because they're interloping on some kind of like lovers sort of an energy. And I think they secretly feel like you're theirs, like that you guys are soulmates. But actually, I don't think that you're a soulmate with this person. I think that they know who your soulmate is. And I think they're trying to block that from manifesting, block you from going off to that, and embody that energy themselves, or try to, or they're trying to break you up in a horrible way to where like you blame that person, or that person thinks that you're a whore or something like that. And it's using some type of manipulation or magic, or I should say. Okay. That was crazy. You're crazy. Please get away from me. Yeah. Why I can't move even though I was called to. Well, maybe pray. And again, like maybe do some like meditations where you're actually connecting in with that like kind of quantum space. Yeah. So, all right. You're welcome. Okay. So, oh my gosh. I think we have, okay. All right. So, I don't have the book, that Codependent No More book. We can figure out a way. Okay, support. I think we can figure out a way to get this back.
No, there's nothing we can do. You have to. The only thing you can do is go through Google's support teams.
Well, maybe we can go through them too.
I already looked into it. There's literally nothing that they'll allow us to do because we didn't actually have anything to do with like making the payment. Mm-hmm. Only the person.
Well, maybe you can send us your PayPal.
Yeah, if it comes to it, well, we can work something out.
Yeah.
Like basically.
Are you on Patreon? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can send us your PayPal, and then we can send you.
Yeah, but try to go through the Google support with the link that I sent, and then if not, then reach out to us and we'll work something out.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Okay. So we are going to move on to our book, which we are reading. It is Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. And I'm kind of treating this as a general message. I was just kind of checking in to see, do I want to do a general message? But no, I feel like we're just going to do the book reading. So we'll just compassion. And then I think I'm just going to jump right into this. Dude, I bought the book. Yay! Okay, so we have chapter 12, Learn the Art of Acceptance. I'd like to make a motion that we face reality. Bob Newhart, The Bob Newhart Show. Accepting reality is touted and encouraged by most sane people. It's the goal of many therapies, as it should be. Facing and coming to terms with what is can be a beneficial act. Acceptance brings peace. It's frequently the turning point for change. It's also much easier said than done. People, not just people with codependency, daily face the prospect of either accepting or rejecting the reality of their present circumstances. This includes who we are, where we live, whom we live with or without, where we work, how we get around, how much money we have, what our responsibilities are, what we do for fun, how we address any problems that arise, and the decisions we made that got us here. Some days, accepting these circumstances is a breeze. It comes naturally. Our hair behaves. My hair behaved today. Our kids behave. The boss is reasonable. The money's enough. The house is clean. The car works, and we like our partner. We know what to expect, and what we expect is acceptable. Other days might not go as well. The brakes go out on the car, the roof leaks, the kids sass, we break an arm, we lose our job, or our partner tells us they don't love us anymore. Something has happened. We have a problem. Things are different. Things are changing. We're losing something. Our present circumstances are no longer as comfortable as they once were. We have new situations to accept. We may initially respond by denying or resisting the change, problem, or loss. We want things to be the way they were. We want the problem to be quickly solved. We want to be comfortable again. We want to know what to expect. We aren't at peace with reality. We've temporarily lost our balance. Codependents never know what to expect, particularly if we're in a close relationship with a person with a serious problem or a compulsive disorder. We're bombarded by problems, losses, and change. We endure shattered windows, missed appointments, broken promises, and outright lies. We lose financial security, emotional security, faith in the people we love, faith in religion, and faith in ourselves. We may lose our physical well-being, our material goods, our ability to enjoy intimacy, our reputations, social lives, careers, self-control, self-esteem, ourselves. Some of us lose respect for and trust in the people we love. This is common. It's a natural, normal consequence of addiction. The booklet, A Guide for the Family of Alcoholics, discusses this. Love cannot exist without the dimension of justice. Ooh, I love that. Love cannot exist without the dimension of justice. Love must also have compassion, which means to bear with or to suffer with a person. Compassion does not mean to suffer because of the injustice of a person. Yet injustice is often suffered repeatedly by families of alcoholics. Even though this injustice is common, it's no less painful. Betrayal can be overwhelming when someone we love does things that deeply hurt us. Perhaps the most painful loss many codependents face is the loss of our dreams, the hopeful and sometimes idealistic expectations for the future that most people have. This loss can be the most difficult to accept. As we looked at our children in the hospital nursery, we had a certain hope for them. Those hopes didn't include them having a problem with alcohol or other drugs. Our dreams didn't include this. On our wedding day, we had dreams. The future was full of wonder and promise. This was the start of something great, something loving, something we had long hoped for. The dreams and promises may have been spoken or unspoken, but for most of us, they were there. Janet Whitesides writes, for each couple, the beginning is different. Even so, the process that occurs in the chemically dependent marital relationship is essentially the same. For the starting point, let's take a look at the marriage vows. Most wedding services include the following statements: for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. Maybe that's where the trouble began. Did you mean what you said when you said it? If you knew at the time that you were going to have not the better but the worse, not the health but the sickness, not the richer but the poorer, would the love that you have felt made it worth it? You may say so, but I wonder. If you were more realistic than romantic, you may have interpreted the vows to mean through the bad as well as the good, assuming that the bad times would be transitory and the good ones permanent. The contract is one that is entered into in good faith, so there's no benefit of hindsight. The dreams were there. Many of us held on for so long, clutching those dreams through one loss and disappointment after another. We flew in the face of reality, shaking these dreams at the truth, refusing to believe or accept anything less. But one day the truth caught up to us and refused to be put off any longer. This wasn't what we wanted, planned on, asked for, or hoped for. It never would be. The dream was dead and it would never breathe again. Some of us may have our dreams and hopes crushed. Some of us may be facing the failures of something extremely important, such as marriage or another important relationship. I know there's a lot of pain at the prospect of losing love or losing the dreams we had. There's nothing we can say to make that less painful or to lessen our grief. It hurts deeply to have our dreams destroyed by substance abuse or any other harmful compulsive behavior. The disease is deadly. It kills everything in sight, including our noblest dreams. Chemical dependency destroys slowly but thoroughly, Wojtitz concludes. And nothing dies more slowly or painfully than a dream. Even recovery brings losses, more changes we struggle to accept. When an addicted spouse gets sober, things change. Patterns of relating change. Although these are good changes, they're still losses. Losses of things that may not have been desirable, but may have become oddly comfortable. These patterns become a fact of our present circumstances. At least we know what to expect, even if that meant not expecting anything. The losses many of us face and accept are enormous, often ongoing and caused by people we care about. Although the problems are a direct result of an illness, condition, or compulsive disorder, they may feel like deliberate and malicious acts. We are suffering at the hands of those we loved and trusted. We are continually off balance, struggling to accept changes and problems. We don't know what to expect, nor do we know when to expect it. Our present circumstances are always in a state of flux. We may experience loss or change in many areas. We feel crazy. Our kids are upset. Our partner is acting crazy. The bills are piling up. Nobody has worked for weeks. The house is a mess, and the money has dwindled. The losses may come barreling down all at once, or they may occur gradually. Things then may stabilize briefly until once more we lose the car, job, home, money, and relationships with the people we care about. We dared to have hope only to have our dreams smashed again. It doesn't matter that our hopes were based on wishful thinking, that the problem would magically go away. Crushed hopes are crushed hopes. Disappointments are disappointments. Lost dreams are dead dreams, and they all bring pain. Accept reality, half the time we don't even know what reality is. We're lied to, we lie to ourselves, and our heads are spinning. The rest of the time, facing reality is simply more than we can bear, more than anyone can bear. Why should it be so mysterious that denial is an intricate part of addiction or any serious problem that causes ongoing losses? We have too much to accept. Our present circumstances are overwhelming. Eventually, though, we must come to terms with what is, if ever we want things to change. If things are ever to be any different, we must accept reality. If we are ever to replace our lost dreams with new dreams and feel sane and peaceful again, we must accept reality. Acceptance doesn't mean adaptation. It doesn't mean resignation to the sorry and miserable way things are. It doesn't mean accepting or tolerating any sort of abuse. It means for the present moment, we acknowledge and accept our circumstances, including ourselves and the people in our lives, as we and they are. It is only from that state that we have the peace and the ability to evaluate those circumstances, make appropriate changes, and solve our problems. A person who is being abused will not make the decisions necessary to stop that abuse until they acknowledge the abuse. The person must then stop pretending the abuse will somehow magically end and stop making excuses for its existence. In a state of acceptance, we are able to respond responsibly to our environment. In this state, we receive the power to change the things we can. Alcoholics cannot quit drinking until they accept their powerlessness over alcohol and their alcoholism. Hoarders can't stop hoarding. Overeaters can't stop eating. No one with compulsive disorder can stop doing whatever they feel compelled to do until they accept their powerlessness. Codependents cannot change until we accept our codependent characteristics, our powerlessness over the people and circumstances we have so desperately tried to control. Acceptance is the ultimate paradox. We cannot change who we are until we accept ourselves the way we are. Here's an excerpt from Honoring the Self on self-acceptance. If I can accept that I am who I am, that I feel what I feel, that I have done what I have done, if I can accept it, whether I like all of it or not, then I can accept myself. I'm going to read that again. If I can accept who I am, if I can accept that I am who I am, that I feel what I feel, that I have done what I have done, if I can accept it, whether I like all of it or not, then I can accept myself. I can accept my shortcomings, my self-doubts, my poor self-esteem. And when I can accept all that, I have put myself on the side of reality rather than attempting to fight reality. I am no longer twisting my consciousness in knots to maintain delusions about my present condition. And so I clear the road for the first steps of strengthening my self-esteem. So long as we cannot accept the fact of what we are at any given moment of our existence, so long as we cannot permit ourselves fully to be aware of the nature of our choices and actions, cannot admit the truth into our consciousness, we cannot change. Acceptance isn't forever. It's for the present moment, but it must be sincere and gut level. How do we achieve this peaceful state? How do we stare at reality without blinking or covering our eyes? How do we accept all the losses, changes, and problems that life and people hurl at us? Not without a little kicking and screaming. We accept these things through a 5-step process. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross first identified the stages and this process as the way dying people accept the ultimate loss of their lives. She called it the grief process. Since then, mental health professionals have observed people go through these stages whenever they face any loss. The loss could be a minor, $5 bill, not receiving an expected letter, or it could be significant, such as the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job. Even positive change brings loss. When we buy a new house and leave the old one, and requires a progression through the following 5 stages of grief. We talk about this all the time. She's about to go into it. So, stage 1, denial. The first stage is a state of shock, numbness, panic, and general refusal to accept or acknowledge reality. We do everything and anything to put things back in place or pretend the situation isn't happening. There is much anxiety and fear in this stage. Reactions typical of denial include refusing to believe reality, no, this can't be, denying or minimizing the importance of the loss, it's no big deal, denying any feelings about the loss, I don't care, or mental avoidance, sleeping, obsessing, compulsive behaviors, and keeping busy. We may, my nose is like really itchy all of a sudden. We may feel somewhat detached from ourselves, and our emotional response may be flat, non-existent, or inappropriate. Laughing when we should be crying, crying when we should be happy. I'm convinced we do most of our codependent behaviors in this denial stage. Obsessing, controlling, repressing feelings. Many of our feelings of craziness are connected to this state. We feel crazy because we're lying to ourselves. We feel crazy because we are believing other people's lies. Nothing will help us feel crazy faster than being lied to. Believing lies disrupts the core of our being. The deep, instinctive part of us knows the truth, but we're pushing that part away and telling it, you're wrong, shut up. According to counselor Scott Eagleson, we decide there's something fundamentally wrong with us for being suspicious, and we label ourselves and our innermost intuitive beings as untrustworthy. We're not denying whatever we're denying because we're stupid, stubborn, or deficient. Sorry if you can hear my stomach growling. I'm deficient in food. We're not even consciously lying to ourselves. Denial isn't lying, Noel Larson, a licensed consulting psychologist, explained. It's not letting yourself know what reality is. Denial is the bugaboo of life. We aren't aware that we're in denial until we come out of it. It's like sleeping. We're not aware that we're sleeping until we wake up. On some level, we really believe the lies we tell ourselves. There's a reason for that too. Denial is the earliest psychological defense to develop, Claudia Jarrett explains, in helping children cope with separation and loss. Conscious or unconscious, it is a mechanism that helps us prevent, avoid, or reduce anxiety when we feel threatened. Much the same way, we may feel little pain after a severe physical injury in times of great stress. This built-in mechanism may allow us to shut down our emotional awareness and screen out potentially overwhelming or devastating information. Denial is the shock absorber for the soul. It is an instinctive and natural reaction to pain, loss, and change. It protects us. It wards off the blows of life until we can gather our other coping resources. 2. Anger. When we're done denying our losses, we move into the next stage, anger. Our anger may be reasonable or unreasonable. We may be justified in venting our wrath, or we may irrationally vent our fury on anything and everyone. We may blame ourselves, the universe, and everyone around us for what we have lost. Depending on the nature of the loss, we may be a little peeved, somewhat angry, downright furious, or caught in the grips of a soul-shaking rage. This is why setting someone straight, showing someone the light, or confronting a serious problem often doesn't turn out the way we expect. If someone is in denial, they won't move directly into acceptance of reality. Chances are good they'll move into anger. That's why we need to be careful about major confrontations. The vocation of putting people straight, of tearing off their masks, of forcing them to face the repressed truth is highly dangerous and a destructive calling. John Powell writes in Why Am I Afraid to Tell You Who I Am? He cannot live with some realization. In one way or another, he keeps his psychological pieces intact by some form of deception. If the psychological pieces come unglued, who will pick them up and put poor Humpty Dumpty back together? I've witnessed frightening and violent acts when people finally faced a long-denied truth. If we are planning an intervention, seek professional help. By the way, those of you who are tarot readers, that's kind of a big part of the job. If you're seeing in the unseen and there's something that like kind of comes through that you can tell somebody hasn't really had that like impression, that's one of the scariest times of being a tarot reader, when you're like, okay, I'm going to float this out there, but okay. Or even just receiving tarot, that's like one of the scariest things. Okay. Bargaining. After we have calmed down, we attempt to strike a bargain with life, ourselves, other people, or the universe. If we do such and such, or if someone else does this or that, then we won't have to suffer the loss. We're not attempting to postpone the inevitable. We're attempting to prevent it. Sometimes the deals we negotiate are reasonable and productive. If my spouse and I get counseling, then we won't have to lose our relationship. Sometimes our bargains are absurd. I used to think if I just worked harder, did everything better, then my husband wouldn't drink anymore, the wife of an alcoholic recalled. 4. Depression. When we see that our bargains didn't work, we finally become exhausted from our struggle to ward off reality. And when we decide to acknowledge what life has thrown at us, we become sad, sometimes terribly depressed. This is the essence of grief, mourning at its fullest. This is what we've been attempting at all costs to avoid. This is the time to cry, and it hurts. 5. Acceptance. This is it. After we've closed our eyes, kicked, screamed, negotiated, and finally felt the pain, we arrive at a state of acceptance. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross writes, "It is not a resigned and hopeless giving up, a sense of what's the use or I just can't fight it any longer," though we hear such statements too. They also indicate the beginning of the end of the struggle, but the latter are not indications of acceptance. Acceptance should not be mistaken for a happy stage. It is almost devoid of feelings. It is as if the pain had gone, the struggle is over. We are at peace with what is. We are free to stay, free to go on, free to make whatever decisions we need to make. Free. We've accepted our loss, however minor or significant. It has become an acceptable part of our present circumstances. We're comfortable with it and with our lives. We've adjusted and reorganized. Once more, we are comfortable with our present circumstances and ourselves. What's more, we're not only comfortable with our circumstances and the changes we have endured, but also that we have in some way benefited from the loss or change, even if we can't fully understand how or why. We have faith that all is well, and we have grown from our experience. We deeply believe our present circumstances, every detail of them, are exactly as they ought to be for the moment. Despite our fears, feelings, struggles, and confusion, we understand everything is okay if we lack insight. We accept what is, we settle down, we stop running, ducking, controlling, and hiding, and we know it is only from this point that we can move forward. This is how people accept things. Counselor Esther Olson, besides calling it the grief process, calls it the forgiveness process, the healing process. It isn't particularly comfortable. In fact, it's awkward and often painful. We may feel like we're falling apart. When the process begins, we usually feel shock and panic. As we go through the stages, we often feel confused, vulnerable, lonely, and isolated. We probably go through this process for anything that is a fact in our lives that we have not accepted. A codependent person or a chemically dependent person may be in many stages of the grief process for several losses, all during the same time. Denial, depression, bargaining, and anger may all come rushing in. We may not know what we were trying to accept. We may not even know we're struggling to accept a situation. We may simply feel like we've gone crazy. We haven't. Grief isn't a tidy process. The 5 stages are fluid and don't unfold precisely as outlined. They may take place in 30 seconds for a minor loss. The process may last years or a lifetime when the loss is significant. We may travel back and forth from anger to denial, from denial to bargaining, from bargaining back to denial. Regardless of the speed and route we travel through these stages, we must travel through them. It's not only a normal process, but a necessary process, and each stage is necessary too. We ward off the blows of life with denial until we're better prepared to deal with them. We feel anger and blame until we've gotten that out of our system. We try to negotiate. We cry. Each of us will spend as much time as we need in each stage. To quote a popular paraphrase of Robert Frost's poem, A Servant to Servants, the only way out is through. We are sturdy beings, but in many ways we are fragile. We can accept change and loss, but this comes at our own pace and in our own way, and only we and our souls can determine that timing. Healthy are those who mourn, Donald L. Anderson, a minister and psychologist, explains in Better Than Blessed. He writes, "Only very recently have we begun to realize that to deny grief is to deny a natural human function, and that such denial sometimes produces dire consequences. Grief, like any genuine emotion, is accompanied by a certain physical changes and the release of a form of psychic energy. If that energy is not expended in the normal process of grieving, it becomes destructive within the person. Even physical illness can be a penalty for unresolved grief. Any event, any awareness that contains a sense of loss for you can and should be mourned. This doesn't mean a life of incessant sadness. It means being willing to admit to an honest feeling rather than always having to laugh off the pain. It's not only permissible to admit the sadness that accompanies any loss, it's the healthy option. It can be a draining, exhausting process. Be gentle with yourself. It can deplete your energy and throw you off balance. Watch how you pass through the stages and feel what you need to feel. Talk to people who are safe and will provide comfort, support, and understanding. Talk it out, talk it through. One thing that helps me is being grateful for my present circumstances, regardless of how I feel or what I think about them. Another thing that helps many people is the serenity prayer. This is my entire life and personality reflected back to me in a book. This is crazy. Understanding the way we deal with loss helps us be more supportive to other people, and it gives us the power to decide how we behave and take care of ourselves when we go through it. Make friends with the grief process. Give yourself and others the space to go through messy feelings for all losses, large or small. Learn the art of acceptance. Activities. 1. Are you or is someone in your life grieving a major loss? Which stage do you think you or that person is in? 2. Review your life and consider the major losses and changes you have gone through. Recall your experiences with the grief process. Write about your feelings as you remember them. 3. Observe yourself and others when going through a minor loss. Watch how you, your loved ones, friends, and even coworkers accept losses and sudden changes in their lives. Okay. Okay, cool. So that is that. The Cinderella complex feels like a stepping stone, like the first part of the feminine moving this energy through the collective consciousness. Yes. I'm not sure why I need the proof. I guess because he denies everything and tries to distort my intuition. Oh. Okay. So I think that's what we have here. And thank you guys for spending a Friday with me. Thank you for all of your love and super chats. And do we have a Patreon reading tomorrow? No. From the vault. We have From the Vault. Thank you. Thank you for tonight's live and reading session. You're welcome. Okay. And Tiger Butterfly will get you all settled over on Patreon. So, okay. That's what I have for you guys. I'm going to go. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day. I hope that you will as well. And we'll have a From the Vault tomorrow. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye, guys.